Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They're stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah.
Good. It's an evening show. Oh yeah, it's an evening show. Why not? Let's have boxing talk tonight. I missed you guys a little bit earlier today. Ladies and gentlemen, running around handling things, moving around. You know, we got to handle the adult business. We got to make sure the house is moving correctly. We got to make sure the paperwork's filed. We got to make sure, you know, all the outside things are in check. We don't want nobody looking for us, right? We don't want to be ducking 1-800 numbers. So, you know, I moved around today, handled some business today. Was gonna move past it and just see y'all in the morning, but you know, me and Blue didn't do the show tonight. Shout out to Blue, you know, handling some things with the family and whatnot. And I'm like, you know what? Let's jump out. Let's go ahead and do a night show. I used to do night shows all the time. I haven't done one in a really long time. Kind of missed doing the night shows a little bit. You know, I mean, the evenings used to be the time I'd pull up, you know, and I'm like, F it, why not? You know, I mean, wifey said, excuse me, I was drooling myself. If I didn't actually drool myself. Wifey was like, man, go out there and talk to the people. So we out here, man. Things is developing out here in the boxing space, and I want to talk about it. I'm in the mood, right? We got Keyshawn Davis and Edwin De Los Santos. The saga continues. Looks like we got a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we've got a fight. It's supposed to be June 7th. Oh, man, bring in the clapping. Looks like we got a fight. We got to talk about what got in the way of the fight, though, right? What was the story behind the fight? We got to talk about that for sure, about exactly what stopped the fight from happening, put some perspective on it, because there does seem to be a common denominator right now. When it comes to the PBC right now, it seems like the common denominator, the big show, I mean, outside of Gervonta Tank Davis, the big show seems to be Samson Leakowitz getting involved in some conversations, right? And, you know, I ain't got no problem with Samson Leakowitz, but it does seem like something weird was going on with the Keyshawn Davis situation. You know, maybe there was some miscommunication there. I don't know. We'll talk about that tonight for sure. We've also got some perspective as Eddie Hearn has communicated to the space, and he's added some perspective as to what was going on between Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda and Oscar De La Hoya and Turkey Al-Sheikh, and what really came about and why we were hearing about, you know, offers being changed up and what it would look like the ninth inning. We're going to talk about that as well. What else we got going on, man? We got everything else going on. I think later this evening, from what I understand, Antoine Russell is supposed to be stopping into the building tonight. Shout out to Antoine Russell and the Russell family. Antoine Russell is supposed to be stopping by. We should be building on a little bit of boxing, see what he's got going on, what he's got planned for the coming months. From what I understand, he might have some announcement coming out soon. Don't know if it's going to be on the show tonight or not, but we'll get a little perspective about what he's got going on. What else is going on? We kind of freestyling it tonight. You know what I mean? Just really just building on boxing and what's going on in the space. Lamont Roach getting a lot of pushback as well. Why not? Let's start on the Lamont Roach situation. So Lamont Roach, as you guys know, the fight he just had with Tank Davis recently, March 1st, I guess, was a fight, right? March 1st, I guess the fight was done, and we saw what happened. The knee was taken, and the shoulder checking, and you know, he tried to be Mike Tyson and take a bite out of him, right? Pause, right? Pause. You know what I mean? Respectfully. And since then has gotten a lot of attention, right? Newfound fame for Lamont Roach, and taking advantage of it as far as I'm concerned, moving around the space on a media tour, but looks like the Tank fans don't like it too much, right? Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, Tank doesn't seem to have an issue with it, right? He's not talking about it. He's not on Twitter attacking what Lamont Roach is doing or anything like that. It's really the fans, right, that are trying to push this narrative out that this guy is trying to build his whole entire career on top of a draw. You know what I mean? You'd have thought he lost, right? And he was building some momentum off on the back end of losing. Lamont can't win for losing, right? You get to the point where I think he's starting to understand and feel it and understand that just being on the opposite side of a conversation with Tank Davis, being on the opposite side of the ring and the potential fight, and even worse, Lamont, let me give you the real gist of it. Being a competitive fight, somebody who can actually maybe beat Tank, oh, forget about it, right? Forget about it. They're going to turn on you, and that's what's happening to Lamont Roach right now. He's catching hell. He's doing interviews. And all I can say is keep doing your thing, Lamont, right? Keep doing your thing. Of course, you're supposed to take advantage of this. Why are you in this? Why did you turn down a defense of your title where you said you could have gotten the same amount of money to defend your title? Why did you take this fight? You took this fight because it was going to be life-changing, right? On the back end of a great performance, or even better, a victory, it was going to be life-changing. It was going to move you in the direction you wanted to go in. And of course, that's what it's done, right? That's exactly what it's done. Has found new fame, and he's doing the right thing. He's moving around on a media campaign. He's promoting himself. He's promoting the idea of a rematch. He's giving his perspective. People have questions out there. They want to know how he's feeling. They want to know how he saw the fight. How did he feel about the referee? How did he feel about the judging? How did he feel about the privilege that he had to face against inside of that ring? And they want to know, and rightfully so, he's providing the information. Now, I know Tank fans are not used to Gervonta Tank Davis going on media tours unless it's like a couple of weeks before a fight that he has coming up. But listen, Lamont's doing what he has to do, right? Shout out. Oh, we got a super chat in the building. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to Bloodsport Boxing, man. Retro boxing and documentaries. If you guys, I see it doesn't say Bloodsport Boxing here, but Bloodsport Boxing showing some love and supporting the channel. Thank you for putting some color in the channel, putting that $10 in there, and it's just supporting the channel. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the love, right? So Lamont Roach gets that pushback from the space. The space isn't interested in hearing him have a little confidence in himself. Right? They don't want to hear him promote the fight. They don't want to get his perspective. They want to put jackets on him and say that he's suing and that he, just because he's getting his lawyers involved with the New York State Athletic Commission and trying, his lawyer and his team and the people who have vested interest in his success, obviously, would find a lot of benefits in that call being overturned. But it didn't get overturned, right? He's not crying over spilled milk. He's still excited and looking forward to this rematch that's supposed to be showing up, I believe in June or July. I'm not too sure. He says he's waiting on an announcement to be made. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Moving on topics here. I want to talk about this Samson Leakowitz thing going on right now in boxing, right? This need to know basis management style that it seems like Samson is doing with Edwin De Los Santos specifically, right? I at times I wonder if he's doing it with David Benavidez, but we don't know. David Benavidez seems to be doing his business the way he wants to do his business, I guess. At the end of the day, he's doing well, right? So we're not going to say David Benavidez, but as far as Edwin De Los Santos and trying to put this fight together with Keyshawn Davis, I think it's kind of interesting how a narrative gets pushed out there. And that's one thing about social media today. That's one thing about these fighters having the ability to communicate to the space. Very different than maybe years ago, 10, 20, 30 years ago, like 20, 30 years ago, before social media was really outside that way. I might even be reaching with the 20, 30 years ago. It might be like 10 years ago, right? But having the ability to communicate to the space and let everybody know what's going on, it's an interesting tool that the fighters have now, right? So Edwin De Los Santos communicates out to the space that, he's not taking a fight. He's getting lowballed by Top Rank for $200,000, being offered to fight this fight for a title fight against Keyshawn Davis. And of course, he feels like he's being lowballed, even though me personally, I don't know if that's necessarily a lowball situation, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. Why? Edwin comes off of a lackluster performance against Shakur Stevenson, record-breaking lackluster performance, right? With the lowest amount of output of punches. Shakur Stevenson finesses Edwin De Los Santos and freezes him out, gives him the paralysis of analysis, and he puts together one of the worst performances that we've seen in a long time. On top of that, being inactive for like 2 years, you're coming off of a loss and jumping right into a title fight. That's a blessing within itself, right? An opportunity where if you really believe in yourself, you might bet on yourself, right? We talk about a little bit, salute to Chris Brooks in the building, salute family. We talk about how Shakur Stevenson may have passed up on a big opportunity, not taking that offer that Devin Haney gave him years ago. That would have put him in a position to potentially have been a unified, undisputed champion in the lightweight division. I think he would have had a lot of leverage and ability to make a lot bigger fights for himself if he would have took that opportunity. You know, Edwin going up in weight and fighting Regis Prograis and taking that opportunity to become a two-weight class champion kind of removed that off the board for Shakur Stevenson. And some fans and some boxing pundits in the space look back at that like, damn, I know you had to regret that, right, Shakur? You had to have regretted that. And Edwin De Los Santos looking like he was this close to doing that himself, walking away from an opportunity for, you know, because he wanted to get paid more money. You know, the business of boxing is always going to be the business of boxing, and these guys are prize fighters, and I understand. But sometimes you got to kind of weigh out what's in front of you and look at the bigger picture. And if you really think you are who you say you are, then sometimes you got to bet on yourself, take that opportunity, beat somebody like Keyshawn Davis, who has a whole entire buzz going about him right now, has a lot of momentum behind him. You take his belt, you jump into big conversations, you jump into the rematch with Shakur Stevenson that, you know, you can get your redemption. You jump into a potential fight with Gervonta Tank Davis because now you're a champion in the same division. You get a whole lot of opportunities on the back end of a win. What are you going to do? Move away from that fight and jump into some, you know, pedestrian opportunity to fight and, you know, not make anything serious for yourself? I mean, there were rumors out there about the Frank Martin fight happening at 140, but regardless, I think Keyshawn Davis has definitely built up a way bigger amount of momentum for himself. So it is what it is. But I regress, right? I digress, should I say? And I bring it back full circle to say that there was a $200,000 offer or $225,000 offer that he felt was beneath him. Well, he didn't know. We didn't know. We were trying to understand what was going on. But Top Rank understood, and representatives of Top Rank came out and said, listen, I don't know what's being told to you, brother, but we did not offer you $200,000. In fact, we offered you $400,000+, maybe even north of $400,000, in that range. Let's just say between $400,000 to $500,000 to make that fight. Question is, what happened to the other half of that money? What happened to $175,000 worth of that money or more, right? And who's handling Edwin De Los Santos's personal business? Well, Samson Leikowitz, right? Samson Leikowitz, you know, told Edwin De Los Santos that the offer on the table was $225,000. Why? I don't know why, right? Only I'm sure Edwin wants to know why, but whatever it is, it seems like the details have been ironed out. Seems like the confusion has been put back into perspective, and it looks like Edwin De Los Santos and Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis, have come to an agreement, and it looks like the fight is back on. And I'll be honest with you guys, I kind of expected that to happen, right? I thought, I didn't know it was going to be what it looks like as far as Samson Leikowitz's part in the confusion, but yeah, I kind of felt like it would have been kind of crazy to see Keyshawn Davis walk away. Edwin De Los Santos. It's late in the evening. It's the night show, right? I've had a long day. To see Edwin De Los Santos walk away from an opportunity to become a champion just like that, you know, negotiations are negotiations, but you don't want to be a fool, right? So it is what it is now. Looks like the fight's going to be happening in on June 7th, I guess is the date they're aiming for. I guess in Norfolk, Virginia. Keyshawn gets another homecoming, and I'm looking forward to see that. How does that fight go? I mean, I think most people would have to be leaning towards Keyshawn Davis, but Edwin De Los Santos always, you know, if you base it off what you saw him do against Raul Venezuela, then, you know, maybe it'll be a very competitive fight. But outside of that, Keyshawn has just showed a lot of wrinkles to his game. Salute let's see who's in the building. I didn't even do a roll call who's in the building, right? Because it's the night show, and I'm off. I'm out here running my mouth. Salute to Joseph Johnson in the building. If you are still in the building, Joseph, what's good with you, family? Long time no here, actually, Joseph. Good to see you in the building. Hope everything is going and working out well for you. Edward Morris, Coach Eddie in the building. Salute to you, family. Kalia World in the building. Hello, Kalia. That sounds like a podcast. You might want to put hello, Kalia, right? Because I think you do some content. You know, hello, Kalia. I like that, right? I don't know. Food for thought. Pancho Villa in the building. Salute, family. What's good with you, man? What is good with you, man? Pancho, how do I not have you in here? Let's get you together, right? There we go. We got you in here. Mr. Big Play Break Grassroot says, good night, boxing family. Let's build on the third shift. Of course, Mr. Big Play, let's have a nighttime show. I wanted to talk about some boxing. I wanted to open up the panel, which I'm going to be doing shortly. This is not your regular show. You know, all the graphics and everything isn't there like it normally is, really off the hip. And of course, Blood Boxing, salute to you, family. Salute to you, salute to you. Chris Brooks in the building. Let's see, Skills from New Orleans, salute to you. BVO Boxing TV, salute to you, family. PK, TK, what's good, family? Everything is good, man. Let's see. Joseph said, I appreciate you. I'm still in the building for sure. Okay, that's good to go, man. That's good. That's good to know, man, for sure. So it looks like that the fight's been put together. That's going to be interesting to see. I think it's a great fight for Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis, in my opinion, I'm questioning how much longer he has left at 135 pounds. You combined the whole Shakur Stevenson conflict of interest situation that he seems to be in, and also the fact that he's a growing young man, right? And, you know, 135 is going to become a little bit more and more difficult for him to just keep on making that weight cut. And if, you know, unifications and things of that nature aren't really in the conversation or aren't in play for him, specifically probably the Tank Davis fight as well. If that's not really in play for him, then, you know, ultimately I could see Keyshawn Davis sooner rather than later making a move up to 140 pounds. So staying busy with the Edwin De Los Santos is going to be important for him. And we'll see what the next fight is. I'm sure he's waiting around trying to see results on certain things. Maybe the result between Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis. He's probably still looking at the Raymond Moratala versus Zaur Abdullaev fight for that what I guess IBF in, you know, champion, as I don't know if it's been put out there completely as to whether or not Vasily Lomachenko is an actually champion in recess right now, an IBF champion in recess, and if they're not fighting for a more legitimate title. But at the end of the day, they're fighting for some form of the IBF title, and I'm sure Keyshawn might be interested in fighting that. Those are top-ranked fighters. So, you know, stay busy. Fight Edwin De Los Santos. Fight competitive fights. Continue. Pack out the Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. Continue to build up your star power, right? It is what it is. Salute and good morning. Oh, good evening, Kiki. Good evening. Good evening to everybody in the building. I hope I haven't been saying good morning the whole damn time. So it is what it is. We'll see what Keyshawn's going to do. Now, let's get some perspective on this Turki Al-Sheikh Shakur Stevenson situation. This has been a very interesting, very interesting developing story, right? And it's developing. Shakur, Oscar De La Hoya putting Shakur Stevenson on blast, saying that, you know, all the mess that Shakur's been talking about fighting William Zepeda, now it's the moment of truth, and he's painted Shakur Stevenson as somebody who might be potentially trying to duck William Zepeda. One thing's for sure, two things for certain with Shakur Stevenson. I'm always seeing him struggling to go and make a fight. I've never seen to this day the resistance or him making I want to say making a fight, right? Or being part of making a fight and making that difficult. Seems like he's always made himself available for fights. Even with Floyd Schofield Jr., somebody who really didn't earn any type of real fight with him, really didn't deem a fight. He heard the call out and said, listen, man, if this fight doesn't work out with William Zepeda, I'm putting you up on stage, man. It's your time to be a big star, as you say you are, knockout power and all the things that you say you can bring to the table. So we're going to say that Oscar De La Hoya is promoting. We're going to say that Oscar De La Hoya is trolling and that he's building up the fight, right? We'll say that just to be nice. But ultimately, the biggest story that seemed to have come out of this is that Turki Al-Sheikh was pulling back on an offer to Shakur Stevenson when Shakur Stevenson went to Twitter. And I got to be honest, Shakur's got to kind of, I don't want to say what he's got to do, right? He's been doing his thing, but he stays real transparent on Twitter. Take that for whatever it's worth. And some things need time to develop, right? Some things need time to develop, and just going straight to Twitter and putting all the Kool-Aid out there, putting all your business out there, and it turns out, you know, there's a story coming out that kind of puts perspective and context as to what's going on. You know, you still want to protect certain relationships. You have business relationships with somebody like a Turki Al-Sheikh, and you don't want to be on the opposite side of, you know, embarrassing Turki Al-Sheikh or exposing Turki Al-Sheikh unnecessarily, right? If it's not necessarily what it is. So story has it that Shakur Stevenson was offered a certain amount of money to fight William Zepeda, that it was an offer on the table and how much he would be looking forward to getting paid to fight William Zepeda. And ultimately Turki Al-Sheikh changed his mind, right? He changed his perspective on what the fight was worth to him and decided to give a counter offer or pull back on the offer that was there and, rub Shakur Stevenson in a certain kind of way. Shakur Stevenson saying he sent his towel boys to deliver the message, even call him personally. That line right there kind of teetering on, towels, Middle Eastern people, towel heads, things of that nature, right? Kind of comes, the wrong people could see it the wrong way and kind of put a dirty jacket on it. More important, like I said, in the spirit of protecting the business relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh, just be careful and be wary of how you approach the situation. At the end of the day, though, more importantly, people were taking shots at Turki Al-Sheikh, right? Rumors in the space, echo chambering. Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't have the budget. What happened to spare no expense? What happened to, paying the big bag? What's going on here? If Turki made an agreement with Shakur Stevenson to pay him one way, and now he's talking about paying him another way. Well, what is this? Is this the beginning of the end? Is the money running low? Is he not able? Is he all of a sudden concerned about profits and things of that nature when he's taken so many so-called losses in the game already? I mean, honestly, what's going on? And I got to be honest with you guys, even me myself, as somebody who will go on record as somebody who supported what Turki's doing in boxing and still supports what he's doing in boxing, still giving us great fights and liking the way his presence has shaken up the game. I had some questions myself, guys, as to what's going on as far as what's the disagreement. Why are you not honoring something you said you would do for Shakur, and what's changed the game up? Well, Eddie Hearn gets into an interview and kind of speaks on it. And as usual, if you give things time to develop, if you allow context to develop, we end up finding out certain things that we didn't know before. And it puts into perspective what you're hearing and what you're seeing. So Story has it. Oh, salute to Kiki in the building, putting color in the chat. Thank you, Kiki. Salute, Queen. Good evening to you, man. I appreciate the support. Says blessing always. I'll receive that. Thank you. I'm always receiving those blessings. I always appreciate those blessings. And, I'll reciprocate. Shout out to Donald Trump, right? I'm going to reciprocate the blessings back to you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I appreciate the support on the channel. Let me hit it with the like. Let me hit it with the heart. All right. And let's keep it moving. Legacy remains. Everything else fades. Salute to you. Salute to you. Salute to you. Good evening to you, man. So yeah. So what did Eddie Hearn say? So it looks like Eddie Hearn's communicating basically that the offer that Turki Al-Sheikh gave Shakur Stevenson came with contingencies, right? It came with contingencies. It wasn't something that just came across just for the shits and giggles, right? Respectfully, excuse my French if I've offended anybody's ears, but it came with contingencies. And the contingency with Shakur Stevenson's situation was, listen, I'm going to pay you this bag, but the fight is going to happen in Saudi Arabia, right? This is not only about you getting paid, but this is also about what is Turki looking to get out of these fights that he's building up, all these spectacles that he's building up. What is the purpose behind it, right? I mean, one purpose that we always say is that he wants to help boxing be great again. He wants to build boxing back up. He's trying to put structure to the game. He's trying to give the fans things that they're not able to get because of money problems or whatever have you. He's trying to eliminate that issue, and he's trying to build up great fights. And us as fans, we love it, right? We love that part of what Turki's doing because we want to see these fights. But Turki and his country also have their interest that they're making sure gets pushed forward. They have their narrative. They have their agenda. They have the thing that's driving the interest in the sport outside of building boxing and loving boxing, but also what's going to benefit Saudi Arabia. And what's going to benefit Saudi Arabia is big events in Saudi Arabia. So listen, we're all in the Shakur Stevenson business as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned. We're loving what he does. He brings that sweet science. Hit, don't get hit. American culture of boxing might not really respect it as much, but over there they seem like they still have a little bit of appreciation for what Shakur Stevenson brings to the table. So they're like, listen, we're going to put money in your pocket to see you do what you do, but we want to see you do what you do over here in Saudi Arabia. And what's changed, it seems, is that Oscar De La Hoya and the Williams Zepeda's representation are interested in making the fight happen, and Shakur's obviously interested in making the fight happen as well, but they don't want to do it in Saudi Arabia. They want to bring it to the States, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's a following for Williams Zepeda. There's a following for Shakur Stevenson, and Oscar De La Hoya has always communicated how certain fights he wants to do in the States. He doesn't want to leave America and take everything to Saudi Arabia. So it's not far-fetched at all that they would want to have the fight in the States. But I think the other part of it is that, Shakur expecting Turkey to pay for something that doesn't benefit his country, when that was the whole reason, that was the whole driving force behind why he was getting involved with Shakur and getting involved with a lot of fighters, is trying to bring fights back to Saudi Arabia. We'll have some in the States, but Shakur Stevenson seems like their whole entire strategy or reasoning behind working with Shakur Stevenson was bringing these fights to Saudi Arabia. So now that that's off the table, that you guys are pushing to make this fight somewhere in America, Turkey's still interested in working with Shakur, but says clearly the amount of money I was willing to offer for is going to change because a lot of other things have changed. The agreement came with contingencies. Those boxes aren't being checked. You're not going to trick me out my back. I'm not a trick. I'm not here to get tricked on. No, I'm saying I'm not as gullible as some people might have me seem to be. No, I'm not really interested in that. And so here we are in the present moment now where Shakur Stevenson is having to negotiate directly with Oscar De La Hoya, have Eddie Hearn work it out with the zone and see what kind of offers and bids can be put into space, as on the back end of Shakur Stevenson communicating that outside of Turkey Al-Sheikh, he's still very interested in making this fight happen, right? Let me see. Okay. Special guest, guys. Somebody, another part of a family, you know what I'm saying, of a legacy thing that's going on right now. I want to take a moment. We'll pause all the Shakur Stevenson, Turkey Al-Sheikh news and all that stuff, and we're gonna bring in a special guest, man. Salute to my brother up in here, Antonio Russell in the building. Let me fix the screen, man. Let everybody see what's going on, man. How's your sound working? Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly fine. How yours on mine?
Man, we sound good. We sound good over here, man. Everything's good. How you doing, man? I know it's late in the evening. We got you late in the evening. How you feeling tonight?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm just getting home from the gym, so winding down, getting ready to rest after this.
Get that sleep. Get that 8 hours. Are we doing 8 hours, Antoine? Are we sleeping properly, or is life hard?
We sleeping properly. We getting our rest.
All right. Well, are we getting ready for anything? What's going on? Are we getting ready for anything right now?
May.
In May?
Okay. Yeah, we talk in May. We seeing May, so hopefully it's on the undercard of maybe Caleb Plant,
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
All right. And where are we at right now? We still at one. Are we at 122 right now?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I've been just doing 118 and 122. I know my last fight was at 22. I felt pretty strong. I felt good there. We're gonna see what they talking about. Either weight class for me, I'm fine with.
Do you kind of have you got a fighter in the crosshairs right now? Like you got somebody you kind of looking at, or they're still looking to put something across the room for you?
Honestly, any fighter that's somebody.
Okay.
Any fighter that's somebody right now. I took a layoff, after my last defeat. I had some difficulties I was dealing with, but since then, we've been back. We've been in the gym. We've been blazing. So now, honestly, I got a chip on my shoulder. So anybody that's somebody that they willing to put in front of me, I'm down.
Yeah, I talked to your brother a few weeks back, and it seems like they're waiting on you right now, right? Like Gary Antoine did. You guys are trying to make some legacy right now. 3 brothers, you know what I'm saying? Champions. And it seems like they're ready to see you kind of make that move as well. So what has it been like up to this point for you? Looks like you kind of got quiet for a little bit. Like you said, you were dealing with an injury. What was it? Was there an injury or something that you were dealing with?
Yeah, it's some injuries that I dealt with. I don't really want to talk about it. But yeah, it was some deep issues that I had to deal with, some family stuff, internal issues and everything. Cleared the way. We strong, we healthy.
Okay. Definitely. So let me ask you, I talked to your brother about so much last time, talked about the upbringing and, rest in peace. And, what I'm saying, to your father, who was just, what he was able to create with you guys was amazing. And he kind of put some perspective on how it was growing up in the house. You know what I mean? Like growing up in a home where boxing was everything. The brothers, everybody's kind of in the gym and just coming up into this point. But first of all, where are you? Like, there's so many of you guys. I want to know where are you as far as age wise, as far as where are you in the tree right now? Are you the second oldest, the young? Like, where are
I'm
you
the
at?
third oldest. Far as the Gary Russells, the brothers of the Gary Russell, it's 6 of us. I'm actually third. I'm right under Gary Allen. So it's Junior, Allen, then I. Then my other 3 brothers fall behind.
All right. And how long you been boxing at this point?
Shit, a little less than forever. I can't really tell you. I think I had my first fight when I was probably like 10.
Like 10?
9 or 10, something like that.
So when did you actually start playing around in the gym? Was this like from
I can't tell you that. As long as I can remember, I was in the gym. Yeah. Even if I wasn't lacing up the gloves or actually training or competing, it was just around me.
Right.
Everybody just picked up on it naturally, for real.
Yeah. Were you born like basically from birth? Were you seeing your older brothers? Like, were you born into a house where boxing was already happening, or were you there for the development, like where it kind of became the interest? So how'd that work out?
All of it. Like I said, since I could remember, I always remember gloves being in the house. I always remember seeing my brothers training and everything. Well, it's a part of my life. I mean, I don't have no life without it. I can't remember a time in which boxing wasn't around me, if I'm being real.
Yeah. So did you always understand it to be the future? Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through the levels of amateur, then we're going to go pro. Was that always a big picture, or was it just a thing to do? Like, it was just life?
Hell nah. This is the way to keep us from playing with guns and drugs and all that other stuff. Just the upbringing, how we came up, Just seeing my brothers do it, I ain't really cared for it. I wasn't into the sport. I wasn't submerged into it. It was just something that was natural for me to be around because I always seen it. It wasn't until I was probably like 12 or 13 in which I really like understood, oh, nah, you good. You could take it somewhere. And at that point, I made the decision within myself to stick with it. And everything just grew from there.
Definitely. So
it made the shit a lot easier seeing all my brothers and them do it though, and then being coached by my pops. It made everything way more easy.
It started making a little bit more sense just to kind of see the path they were on. So you kind of mentioned the 12-year-old, because I was going to ask you, at what point did you see it for yourself? You know what I mean? That when it moved from something I'm just doing because it's what I do, and it moved into, when did the decision get made for you that I'm going to do this? Like, I'm good at this, and this is what I'm actually going to do. I've made up my mind. I'm going to commit to this and see this all the way through to, where you are right now and where you're trying to head to.
When I was probably like 12 years old, I fought a guy who was undefeated and he was beating everybody in our area. And this was probably, I want to say, like my 5th fight. Okay. But everybody that I had already beat lost to this guy. And once I cooked him and made it look easy, they be like, nah, bro, you like that. You might as well stick with it. I went back home and I watched the tape.
Right.
And I was like, oh, nah, I like this shit.
You could do this. So what was the game plan at that point? Was there a conversation with your father at that point? I'm assuming, I feel like your father was waiting on you to make up your mind you want to do it before he took it as seriously as you was going to take it, right? No,
my pops foreseen this shit. He must have already knew he gonna get into it. Get into it. All right, cool. I went and sparred a guy who was pretty good, and I did good. Did better than what he expected. The next week, my ass was fighting in the Silver Gloves. He went and got me a pass book and everything. I didn't even know I was gonna fight. He called me and was like, "Hey, where you at?" I'm at the basketball court. All right, we about to come and get you.
Yeah.
He came and got me, took me to some fights, made me weigh in, and was like, "Hey, we got to fight for you."
So he saw it really. He kind of saw it. He saw what he needed to see to know that it was time to level you up.
It's time to level up. Yeah.
Right.
But even him putting me in the mix of everything, I do it because, of course, pops had me around and I'm with my brothers. I'm comfortable. But after I fought that one guy, something clicked, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm too good.
And here we are. So I mean, we're not going to talk about the injury, but there was a little bit of a hiatus in between. I think around Emmanuel Rodriguez, I think is a fight, right? Where how did that fight go? By the way, was that a
I lost. I fucking lost when I shouldn't have. He's not good as me.
Right.
He's a good fighter. He's a decent fighter. I don't think he possessed my skills, my punching power, my hand speed, my charisma in the ring, my IQ, anything.
Right.
I feel like that night I probably shouldn't have fought. Me not having knowledge on certain things that I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I took it lightly, and I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have fought that night and should have waited till I got completely healthy or, heard back from somebody.
Right. So there was an injury. There was an injury in that fight.
It was an injury in that fight. I don't ever talk about it because I don't want to take away anything that he did during the fight. He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, because the fight ended pretty much with an injury to Emmanuel Rodriguez. Right, he had to be stopped, right, and he kind of went to the scorecards at that point.
Some sucker shit, yeah.
Yeah. He kind of took the opportunity to go ahead and get out of it.
And then for the belt shortly after, it looked like some shit.
Right.
It looked like some ass. It was a good, exciting fight.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked like some shit. He looked more beat up in that fight than he did in my fight. And he caught way more head bumps, and he still continued. I don't know, maybe because it was a bigger, fight.
Right.
That magnitude. He's fighting for the belt, so he said, "You know what? Forget it. I pushed through
it." Yeah. So you moved on from that situation. It seems like you kind of
no.
You didn't move on.
I don't move on. I'm not moving on.
So what does that look like? Are we going to see? You plan on seeing him at some point again? Still, like he's in the crosshairs.
If you keep being moved right, if we meet again, yeah.
Okay.
If we meet again, I definitely would want to fight him again. Break my foot off in his ass, but
early.
If not, I would understand why he wouldn't fight again. When we in there, I feel like all fighters have a certain eye for things. And great coaches, they have an eye. Inside of boxing, sometimes it goes beyond boxing IQ and ring gentlemanship, and it's just a certain level of man, a certain level of will that you have within yourself. And even in that fight, with me not being 100% of myself, I seen some sucker shit within him, during the fight. And a lot of fighters come across other fighters like that in which they could see it, and a lot of coaches could see it. And in that fight, I seen some weak shit in him. I seen some weak shit in him that I was going to explore. If you go back and look at that fight, I was actually telling my brothers, I don't know what's going on. I don't feel right, but he a sucker. He ain't one of them. I said, bro, I don't feel good, but I could break him.
Mm-hmm.
I could break him. Within these 5 rounds, I'd break him. And after I was put down and everything, I picked up the intensity, and the fight started to change, a little bit until the head bumps, and he took the easy way out. He went. I'm not gonna say the easy way. It was a smart way.
Right.
He felt as though he was up on point. Why take any additional damage if it's not necessary? So I feel like it was a smart move, but I seen a sucker in that shit.
Yeah. So that hiatus you took between 22 and 24 in that fight you had, was that an injury hiatus, or was that a get your mind right hiatus?
No, it was an injury hiatus. It was definitely injury. I had to get everything back. I had to heal myself. I had to heal. I had to be smart. I had to listen to people's. I had to go back and go within myself. And do what it is I had to do. Do all the necessary shit that I needed to do to get back to where I wanted to be. So
100%.
I'm good. I'm great now. I'm great.
100%. So you had that fight with I think it was Jaden Bernias or Bernias. You had that fight. It was you KO'd him, right? So you back. What's the game plan now? Because you debuted at 122 there, right? So that's pretty much when you came back. You came back into 122. So this fight, you're kind of like the aim is to get into I don't know if the 122 division is moving around. Obviously, the obvious elephant in the room is Monster anyway, right? He's the elephant in the room, but there's other fights in the division as well. But also, you're right there in the same conversation as Bam Rodriguez a little bit, right? Like you could You kind of right there in that conversation, moving around. How you looking in the rankings right now?
Honestly, I submerged myself back so much back into myself and my craft and everything. I haven't even been paying attention to it. I know if I get back in the ring and keep whipping ass like I know I'm supposed to, I know where my rankings will go.
Right. So right now you're just trying to stay. Is activity the goal right now? You just want to be active. Just stay fighting.
I just want to stay active. Give me some names. Give me some names so I can show the world something.
No doubt.
I don't talk a whole lot. I never really liked talking. I never really been a huge talker.
Right. No doubt. So how do you feel about you were there that night with your brother with Antoine when he got that victory over Ryo, right?
Of course.
I know as a family that was a nice feeling, a nice accomplishment, for the Russell family last name. Any motivation? How'd you feel about the night? Speak on the night.
The whole night, I think the whole night was awesome. It was an awesome night of fighting, an unexpected night of fighting, with the main event and everything. But I feel like Antoine did everything that we asked, everything that he was supposed to do. I feel like he did a phenomenal job. I take my hat off to Lil Bro. He executed our game plan that we worked on in camp, and the shit played out how it was supposed to. The only other thing I could have asked for from his performance is if he knocked his ass out or stopped him.
Right.
Cherry on the cake.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryo with that chin, because he was getting clipped a lot. For him to just weather that, shout out to him, man, to be able to do that, because he was definitely getting caught up with some shots.
He definitely was. Oh yeah. Take it off to that.
No doubt.
Great fight. All of the other fights, the earlier fights on the card, a lot of guys from the DMV, little Scooter Davis who performed.
He looked
sharp, looked pretty good. The body snatcher, he looked pretty good. He had a tough fight in front of him.
Right.
The tough fight was a good fight. In my opinion, I think that was honestly the second most exciting fight on the card.
Yeah, it was that was my first time seeing him fight. And I was like, all right, no, he's must watch fight. Like, he's must watch boxing. When you see his name, you want to see him fight, man. He comes in there.
He come to work, and he performed. Like I said, he had a tough opponent in front of him. He stuck to his game plan, and he got the victory, which was good. Jared, J-Rock, their fights was good.
J-Rock fought Yoenis, right? He fought Yoenis Tilez. That's who he fought in that fight, right? He fought Yoenis. J-Rock.
J-Rock, he fought that fight. I expected J-Rock to go out there and win, actually.
Did you? Were you a little disappointed what you saw, or did you feel like it was just Yoenis, you just give him his respect that he just fought the fight that he needed to fight?
Yeah, something like that, but I still was disappointed. I like to see people that I came up with or that I actually know personally win.
Right. Jared
I don't really know the guy that he fought.
Yeah.
But I wanted J-Rock to win.
So are you watching boxing? Are you the type of fighter who just more so into what you got going on and what your family going on? Or are you a boxing fan still? Are you watching fights? You know what I'm trying to say? Are you watching?
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm just getting more into it. Getting more into it. Honestly, though, once my pops passed, I stopped watching everything. So I'm just starting to heal, and I'm just getting back around to watching it. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I talked to your brother about that, like the way you guys had to kind of work through that situation, and still be busy. Like, I think you had a fight in months from that unfortunate situation. Gary, Antoine, I'll call all y'all Gary, right?
Rodriguez fight.
I was about to say, I was literally about to ask you, how do you feel like that kind of do you think that kind of bled into what you did that night with Rodriguez?
Hell yeah. But it was nothing mental. I tell you that right now. It was nothing mental. Mental. All physical, you feel me? All physical, And I ain't no religious ass guy and all that, but I do believe in the higher power and the spiritual realm and everything. And in training camp, I was beating my sparring partner's ass. One of the fighters was actually beat Rodriguez, came down. And I was knocking him out, hitting him with body shots, putting him down to the point we was about to send his ass back, because I was like putting him out too early.
Right.
I felt great in this damn camp, but halfway through some shit happened, and I'm like, the hell? This ain't never happened to me before, and I had a dream, man. I had a dream, and I remember this dream so vividly. I had a dream that my dad was like, man, you gonna be all right. You don't have to fight. And I was like, man, Dad, fuck that, man. I'm gonna cook him. We gonna rumble. And he got mad at me. Like, my pops got mad at me. He was like, nah, you dumb motherfucker. You need to listen. Listen, man. And he took his belt off and started trying to whip me. So I'm laughing. I grabs the belt, and we tussling for the belt. He falls on the couch. He falls on the couch, and now my shit like, oh, fuck, I made my pops fall. My bad, Dad. I apologize. But he's still mad. So now he's kicking at me and shit. He's like, nah, you don't fucking listen. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen. I apologize. And in the process of me trying to get him, my pop started to have a fucking heart attack in my dream. So I woke up, and it was like, damn, it's y'all fucking me up. You know, tears, now I'm emotional. So I'm like, you know what, fuck this. I'm ready to go to the gym. I get up and go to the gym. And the whole time, you know, my mom is super religious. She do all out praying for our family, you know, and everything, you know. And I prayed a little bit, and I thought about it. I was like, damn. After the fight, I'm like, damn, what if that was a goddamn message? What if Pops was trying to tell me something?
After the fight, like hindsight,
after
looking
the
back.
fight, once I start looking back, I'm like, damn, what if that was a message? Like, so
would you?
I missed it.
You speak like maybe you shouldn't have fought it, but is there a world where you would have pulled out the fight? Like, is there, you know what I'm trying to say? Is there a situation where you would have?
Yes, that's a situation, honestly. And the only thing that I feel like would have had hold on me to do it was my pops.
Boom.
Was my pops. I ain't gonna lie. My pops, if my pops was here and he seen what happened, I know he wouldn't have let me have the goddamn fight. He'd be like, nah, you need to heal. Nah, it's all right. We're going to get it back. I'd rather you be safe and heal. People get hurt in this boxing shit. Let's just make sure everything is okay with your body and everything before you go out here fighting. And I know my pops wouldn't let me take the fight. Trust me, I watch my pops pull fights for a lot of shit. We got 8 weeks. Within that third week, if you ain't looking the way he looked, oh, yeah. Oh, nah, son ain't right. Hey, Al. We might have to cut this. Tonio ain't looking the best. Twan ain't looking the best. G got something on this. Whatever the case is, Pops cared about our well-being and our career. And he had hands on that shit. And I know for a fact if he was alive, he wouldn't have let me fight.
Right. At this point, is it do you have some, you know, did the experience wasn't in vain? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you learn and grow from that situation to where now you're just you feel like you're a more in tune fighter, you're more about your business, you're more going to listen to your gut. You know what I'm saying? Did you learn something from that? Did you walk away from that? Like, you know what? I need to take some things a little bit more seriously and not play around and just be all willy-nilly in the game.
Fuck that. I definitely was taking everything serious. I definitely was taking this serious.
In that fight too at that time.
Hell yeah, I was taking all that shit serious. I just feel like the lack of knowledge of things got in my way. That's all. Just me not knowing, me being ignorant to how my body was going to respond after having whatever that shit is I had. I just had no knowledge of it. But I always took this serious. And yeah, to answer your question, I definitely did learn something from it. Anything that you go through, you should be able to learn something from it.
Hopefully, right? Yeah. There's some people we know that don't, right?
If you don't, it's something wrong. You know, I went through adversities in that fight that I never experienced before in life. Like, I got put down for the first time. That's in life. I mean, Spawn count too. I ain't never get put down by nobody in Spawn other than my brothers. You know, for real, like little body shots when I was probably like younger and stuff, you know, when they way bigger than me and other than that, no one. So that was the first time for that shit to ever happen. I learned from it. It was adversity that I never experienced before in life. So for that happened, I learned from it. I feel like I approached it the right way. When I did get knocked down, I was astute enough to know, damn, don't get up quick.
Right. Take your time.
Take this time. Take this count all the way to 8. And even once I did get up, I made sure my defensive discipline was on. You know, I didn't back up. I stood my ground. You know, in most cases, I expected him
to rush you,
to try to finish me.
Right.
Which he didn't at all. He was in no rush to try to. And that day, I was like, oh, this nigga, he a sucker. He a sucker for
Yeah.
me. He a
He
sucker.
had some understanding. There was
He had
some
some understanding.
understanding to
He
it.
had too much respect for me at my weakest moment.
Right.
Too much, you know. So it is,
Yeah.
you know?
It definitely is what it is at this point. But like you said, you know what I mean, an opportunity to learn, you know, what do they say? It's not a loss, it's a lesson,
Yeah.
right? At the end of the day. Because if you come out on the other side better for it, then you know you can't what's the word they say? You can't take your victories and whatever you're about to do in this sport and not acknowledge that as a legitimate building block and a necessary building block to get you to where you are right now. So it works out in the long run. So as far as announcements on the next fight, do you have any expectations of when that's going to be something you can announce in a week or two? Because if you're talking about the Caleb card,
Probably like a week or two. Yeah, probably like a week or two. I know some.
you have some understanding. All right.
Yeah, some understanding. Hopefully
Yeah.
they get a good opponent. Hopefully they give me the opponent that I want.
You got okay, so you got one that you're looking at that you hoping that you got one.
I ain't gonna mention him. I ain't gonna say.
No, for sure.
But I hope they give me him. I hope they give me him.
All right. Is that going to move you in the right direction though? Like, so this opponent is going to be one that's going to put you where you need to be at.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. Gary's really, you know, Gary Russell Jr. is really on his trainer energy, right? Was he in your corner, by the way, on the Rodriguez fight? He was the one in your corner training you at that point?
Of course.
Okay. So how's that transition been for you at this point as far as the brother turning into the trainer and him being, you know, I mean, how's that been for you?
It started off a little difficult. You feel me? And I feel like that's because we all men. Mm-hmm. We all men. When we all men, all close in age as men, I feel like we need to humble ourselves enough to be able to. No, well, let me rewind myself. I'm not going to say humble myself, but I feel like we need to empty our cup enough to be able to give my older brothers the same attention and the service as we did my pops. You know, when it's pops, it's like, it's just a knowing. This is my dad. Outside of boxing, I have to obey. I have to listen. Even though I'm my own man, that's my man. That's my old man. So I have to listen, you know, and I know he means well versus when it comes from my brothers, y'all the motherfuckers I want to be competitive with. Y'all give me that competitive greatness that I need to get better.
Right.
So my style is different than G's. G's is different from Antoine. So I guess the training part came into play. It's like, all right, I ain't comfortable doing it that way. Versus my pops, he knew all of us. He knew all our individual swag. You feel me? He knew how to pull the best out of me. He knew how to pull the best out of G and how to pull the best out of Twan. But he had to do it in 3 different ways. And he knew how to do that. So far as the bros making that transition, it was a little difficult. But I feel like as of now, we getting that shit. We have no choice but to get it, you know?
You're buying into it now. You're buying into the process now.
And I think we damn near got it. I think we pretty close. We got some more that we learning, you know? But from Antoine performance, you know, it lets us know, all right, we're doing something right. We're doing something right. Because everything that we asked for was there. It was executed. And we did what we came to do. So,
right. So, I mean, it seems like in a situation like that, it's kind of like you earn it, right? Like, you know, for Gary Russell Jr. as well, you know what I'm saying? For him to kind of like be tried true, you know what I mean? Like you said, you just referred to what he did with Gary Antoine as a validation, like, oh, this is working. Okay, we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's coming full circle. And that, because Gary talked about it, right? He said that when he was with your father, that anything that was going on inside the ring, he believed in your father's instructions, right? And if it didn't work, he put it on himself and said, I didn't do it right. I didn't execute it right.
Exactly. If my pops asked us anything and it wasn't working, we probably just wasn't executing it the right way.
Right. And for you to get that trust for him, like your father, where I believe in the game plan. I believe in your ability to get me there. You're there now. Like, you're there now where you're like, you got that, bro. That box is checked. I can be a fighter now. I could take instruction. I know that we're on the same page and we're moving forward now. So going into this fight, this is a what's the word I'm looking for? This is a new and improved version of the team coming into the ring, as far as you and your brother's relationship, as far as trainer, boxer, into this coming up fight that you're gonna be having in May? Would you say that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Nah. Shit ain't
Nah.
no. We've been doing it for too long. I think we just had to find a way to put it all together so it'd be beneficial for each and every last one of us.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's
That's
get
all.
it.
That's all. We already know it. Look, everything that Pops instilled into us, we all got that shit, you know. And I feel like we just all had to find a way to put it out there for everyone to be able to accept it, so it could work good for everyone. That's all.
Yeah, all together, man. Let's get it going, man. Gary got his. Where do you think it ends for you as far as like weight wise? How far up do you think this can go for you? Like, where is this going to be for you at? You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's so crazy how my body is. I don't know where it's going. I could end at 26. I could possibly end at 30.
Right.
Good. I get a belt at 18. Bam at 15, right?
Bam is he 15
Yeah,
or is he 17?
He at 15, or is he about to come up to 18?
I'm gonna tell you right now. I know that.
I feel like he at 15, but I get a belt and he still got a belt. I wouldn't even mind taking the catch weight to see what he's about.
Yeah, 115. Yeah, he's at 115.
Yeah, so I do a catch weight. I do a catch weight with Bam.
That'll be a great fight,
Or
man.
if he come up to 18, I'll touch him up at 18. Yeah.
That'd be a great fight. That would be a great fight.
Feel like it'd be a good fight.
Yeah, man. I think so. I think he's an up and coming talent for you to get in the ring with him and bring that Russell energy, that legacy in there. That would be a big fight. That would definitely be a big fight. So I mean, you know what I mean? It would be a big fight. I think it would be a big fight. I'd be looking forward to see something like that. So I don't know about everybody else. You know what I mean?
think it'd be a great fight too.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think about Bam though? Like, what do you think about Bam?
I think he's a good fighter.
You know what I mean? You think he's a well-rounded fighter? You do see things though when you watch him, because he's close enough to you where you're watching him in a different way, right? You're not watching him like you're looking at Usyk and like, that's a great heavyweight fighter. This guy's somebody.
Nah, I'm looking at him like, oh yeah, I'm chopping my teeth. Like, you get close enough, hey, we can get this work. Yeah. I like him as a fighter, but I would also like to get in there with him.
Yeah.
I like to get in there with him.
Yeah. Anybody else that you seeing? Let's say at 122, that you seen up there that's moving. I mean, Monster's there obviously, and 126 looks like it's bubbling right now. It looks like it's coming full circle. Like a lot of energy going on to 126. That ever tempts you to ever move faster than you need to move?
Always
with the program.
Always. it does. It really do. And I was just telling one of my older brothers. I was telling Junior about it. I was like, man, I said, the way you're looking, bro. If I hurry up and get a strap, bro, I would move straight up to 26 and challenge somebody.
So you wouldn't even like push it to unify at 122. You get your title and leverage it as soon as you can and try to get some smoke at 126.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Come on. I ain't gonna lie. And at 26, a lot of people ain't saying his name. But what's his name? The tall guy.
Raphael, the tall tree, the tree.
You know, I would like to fight his ass.
Really?
Yes. I would love to fight him.
Okay. I mean, he the towering inferno of the division. I mean, he the super tall, he the awkward fighter. So I mean, that you would rather go at him for, like, let's say a Shushu or a Steve Fulton, or you know what I'm saying?
Fulton too.
Yeah, he's right there next to you. He right there.
Scooter too. I'd like to fight Scooter too, and I like him personally because he's actually my homie. You know,
right.
I came up in the stable with a lot of the newer champions that's coming up. You know, Caleb Benavidez. Shushu was a little behind me, but Scooter, Hammer, Eric Lugerson, and all them. So all of us fought in a lot of tournaments together. And when you constantly in the nationals, you get to see who's good. And them guys was always there. You know, me and Scooter fought in a couple tournaments together, but we never got to fight each other because we was on the opposite side of the bracket. But it was multiple tournaments that he just knew, I'm gonna fight him in the championship. I end up fighting somebody else in the championship.
That's interesting that you said that though. That you're looking at Rafael Espinoza and you like Vime because I know he's not. I mean, I know it looks like, you know what I mean, the way he fights that he puts a lot of issues out there. You know what I mean, he uses that reach, you know, he's a good puncher, you know what I'm saying, and he's disciplined behind that jab, man. He's disciplined behind that jab. So you'd have to break that void, right? You'd have to find a way. I'm assuming, right? We'd have to get mid-range at certain points, but you probably could still, you know, do a lot of things. That's interesting, man. That says a lot, man.
Yeah, I like him. I like to fight him. I like to fight him. One of my homies be like, bro, he's so tall. I'm like, I know.
You got sparring that you've done like with some tall fighters, like you kind of have like a
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fighters, a lot. And look, I always been short. So everybody I fought always was really bigger than me anyway.
Right.
So I always did good with tall fighters. I always liked fighting tall fighters. Right, especially tall fighters who work off the jab and could throw uppercuts and touch the body good. I like fighting them.
Yeah, bro. And man, it's going to be interesting to see it happen, man. One fight at a time. This one on the Caleb Plant card, hopefully, right? You know what I'm saying?
We'll see.
God willing, you know what I'm saying? That's what works out. Were you on that last fight you had? Was that on a Pro Box card or was that on a PBC?
PBC.
It was a PBC card. Okay. So you are a PBC fighter pretty much, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking to get active on these cards, on these PBC cards for sure. You see Nook in there, right? In there, Well Connected Elite Sports. He said he's been saying this ever since I showed him Espinoza. He said you've been on Espinoza's head ever since he showed him to you.
It's a fantasy fight. It's a fantasy fight that could very possibly happen in due time, you know. Let's just see how everything goes. It's something that could definitely happen. Let me get a strap and watch how fast I bounce around.
Yeah. I think he's rumoring to be entertaining 130. He's entertaining it. Yeah, that's what rumor is, that they trying to, you know, he's weighing it out, you know what I mean, as to whether or not he go up there and maybe fight a Navarrete or something at 130 and make a big Mexican shootout up there, or if he's going to hang back at 126 and continue to defend his title, aiming, you know, maybe unifying the division as well.
He needs to stay 26.
Stay there. Wait for you. Just leave.
Don't wait for me. I just feel like it'd be good if he stay at 26. It's some good fights. I like to see him fight at 26 before leaving. Like I said, I'm back into watching the fighters. So he's a fighter that I've been looking at because of Nook. And I see everybody else that's in his weight class. He got some exciting fights that could possibly be made. Him and Shushu, him and Stephen Fulton. Even though Stephen Fulton just beat him.
Right.
Brandon Figueroa, I don't know what's up with him. He ain't fight the same. You know, he looked a lot slower. You know, I feel like Scooter, one of them fighters, once he double back, he get your time and he gets shit down. You know? So I feel like the first fight prepared him a whole lot for the second one, but I feel like homeboy ain't show up the way he did the first fight.
Right.
And Scooter took advantage of every part of it like he was supposed to.
Sure.
But I feel like if he come back and really lock in again, that'd be a good fight for him as well.
Yeah. Rumors circulating that he might be entertaining moving up too.
Who?
Rumors circulating that he might be entertaining going up to 132. That Brandon Figueroa, he might be thinking about it too as well. So I don't know if he's blaming it on the weight cut. Maybe he feels like, you know, he's not himself. He did the same thing on the last time. Stephen Fulton just pushing him around, right? The last time he was Stephen Fulton, he went up to 126, and now he's talking about going up to 130 after losing to Scooter. So
that's on him.
Yeah, man. Do what you got to do in this game, right?
Yeah, but I definitely like Espinoza to stay down 26 for a little bit. I'd like to see him fight a couple people. I don't want him to run from Shushu either. I like to see Shushu fight all of them.
How do you feel about Shushu at 126? You feel like he's kind of like up and like how do you feel about him at 126 right now?
I feel like he about to be up next. I feel like I feel like he possibly had the potential to dominate 126.
Wow, me too. I'm not gonna lie. That's how I feel about it too.
Potential to dominate 126. Him and Scooter, that'd be a great matchup. Be
Yeah.
a real good matchup. School the guy, bring his A game, and be on point like he has been doing. And I feel like it's gonna be a different level of opposition once Shushu get in there with someone of Scooter's caliber. Him and Espinosa, I feel like that would be a good fight because it's a style that he probably haven't came across yet. Fighting someone that damn tall,
Right.
we have to see, how he do with that range. How is
Right.
he going to set up traps? How he's willing to get in the inside and everything. But I got faith in him. I like his skill set, and then I watched him grow a whole lot from the amateurs.
Right.
Watched him grow a whole lot from the amateurs to where he is now. I take my hat off to him. I'm actually proud for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I rock with Bruce, man. I like what he's doing. We got the same birthday, so what I'm saying. so I always watch him fight, man. I like what he's doing. I like that he called out everybody. He ain't playing no games. The next fight should be a title fight. Maybe him and Nick Ball. Maybe him and I don't know. Steven's talking about
Nick Ball.
Right.
I forgot about Nick Ball. He's another guy who pulled my attention. He pulled my attention.
How does that look, you and Nick Ball? How you see it? Because Nick is just his name kind of, he's a bulldozer.
Hey, a bulldozer. Running here, get hit with some hard shit. What's wrong with him? You might walk at me like that. Fuck. Dude, I don't care. I'm healthy. I'm healthy now. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I don't have no injuries. I'm strong. I'm knocking motherfuckers out again. I'm hurting people. So I don't care.
Yes. You make it easier for me, right? I don't gotta chase you around. You want to stand up here and just come at me? Well, all right then.
Yeah.
See how that turns out.
So we'll see. But I like him though. And it's funny, I just recently sparred someone who actually kind of fight like him. So I thought that was cool. But I like him too. I would like to see if I had it my way in order, I'd like to see Shushu and Nick Ball first. I would like to see Shushu and Nick Ball.
Yeah, I think that's a big show for Shushu. I think that puts him on the map. I think that's a big show. You know what I'm saying? Because Nick is not gonna. It's gonna be an exciting fight. You know what I'm saying? But I think the best fight, like for me, and I'm talking about, like, I don't know if you saw when Virgil Ortiz fought Serhii Bahachuk. If you saw that,
I did.
I see that. I see that kind of energy with Shushu and Rafael Espinosa fighting. That's the kind of, I see a fight where Shushu got that dog in him and Rafael Espinosa got that volume punching, and it's just going to be a point in time. I think that fight is going to turn into a fight where it's going to leave boxing and it's going to turn into a straight up fight.
Yeah, definitely can. Definitely, very easily could. And that's the part of Shushu that I want to see.
No doubt.
That's what I want to see from him. I want to see. I know he got the grit. I watched him spar numerous times, so many times. You feel me? So I know he got the grit. I just want to see him walk down and go get it. Somebody who's not willing to back up, or when he go through adversities and he got to keep going, keep pushing, willpower. I want to see his will. I want other people to be able to see his will. I seen it doing sparring and then turning and stuff when he was fighting and everything. But when this stage at this altitude, I want the world to see it. You feel me? I feel like everybody need to get their just due.
You need that dance partner. You need that dance partner that gives you an opportunity to show that. And I think Rafael checks the boxes on that for Shushu. You know what I mean? Yeah. Shout out to Love My Kids. Salam alaikum, Clay. I'm glad I caught you live, sending love and support your way. Wa alaikum salam. Love My Kids, man. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, man, it is what it is. Jermaine Andrews says, damn, this is my first time seeing Antoine personality. He seems like a solid cat. I'm rooting for him. Yeah, bro, you got to root for the Russell family in general, man. I like that. I like what y'all represent and the way it looks to have the brothers all together. And like I said, you know what I mean? I don't like to harp on your father passing away because that's got to be a sensitive thing. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, celebrating, it's gotta be, man. But one that's kind of just celebrate.
You could talk about anything. As a man, we got to be able to put our emotions to the side sometimes and have these type of talks. Don't get me wrong; it is a sensitive.
It's gotta be, bro.
It is because I see this motherfucker in everything that I do. You feel me? In everything that I do, when I hear my name, when I go to the gym, when I look at my daughters that look like him, I see my pops. My pops is in everything. My pops is in everything that I do in life. You feel me? So yeah, it is sensitive. But as a man, I'm growing to be able to heal and talk through it.
Have you been able? Do you think at this point, or have you been able to use it in a positive way as far as your drive in the ring and in training, and you know what I'm saying? Has it been something that you've been able to like bring full circle into like a superpower a little bit on the low key, like where he's kind of like
It ain't on the low key. It ain't on the low key.
Okay.
It ain't no low key at all. Look, I'm in the position that I am in life and as a fighter, and I owe all that shit to my pops. I owe
100%.
all of it to him. So I'd be damned if I let all his hard work, all the nights that he stayed up with our asses, the early mornings, doctor's appointments, everything, all the calls on the phone with Al Heyman to like fucking 6 in the morning and keeping me up. Nah, none of it would go in vain. It can't.
I love it.
It
Love
can't.
it. I think that's you know, I think of Abdullah Mason and the way I see his family stand around him, and I see y'all in the same way. I love that structure, especially brothers. You know what I'm saying? Holding each other down, moving in the same direction. Gary doing his thing. Gary, you know what I mean? Antoine doing his. But it's like you guys are together, man. And I think that's a powerful thing, and it's a great thing to see. I want to see you guys accomplish that, man. I want to see you become a champion. I want to see you guys accomplish those goals, man, because I know it puts a lot of perspective on all the hard work, all the journey. You know what I'm saying? It puts a lot of perspective on it to come full circle and get these victories, man. So we definitely rooting for you, man. It's hard not to.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all because there's a lot of damn hate out here.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of hate.
Oh man,
I appreciate all the little bit of love that I can get because it means a lot when there's so much hate.
Nah, yeah, I can imagine. You know what? You already know. I don't gotta tell you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Especially with social media, with the social media space, it gets even crazier. Shout out to Love My Kid says, salute Antoine from the DMV. We need great boxers from the DMV. We believe in you.
Tell him I'm not Antoine though. That's my younger brother. I'm Antonio.
Oh yeah, Antonio. Sorry, yeah. You know, I'm sure that's got to get old too. Because listen, you know, we can segue into that, right? You guys all have the same name except for the middle name, right?
Yeah.
So how does that? Yeah. I mean, I'm like this situation right here, right? Shout out to Love My Kids. This is definitely Antonio. It's not Antoine. But how's dealing with that situation? Your father named all y'all the same name. Yeah. All y'all
everybody miss him. I'm gonna let Antoine know everybody love him. They love the new champ. So I'm gonna make sure that everybody know.
Yeah, let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate him for him and give him his flowers, man. It is kind of his time right now. You know what I mean? Let him shine. Let him shine.
Of course.
But growing up, everybody Gary. But you got the middle names. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So does that, I mean, look what just happened right there. Does that get old, or is that just like kind of like part of the?
I don't get old. It don't get old because honestly, like I said, I'm different from all my old bros. Mm-hmm. We all got our own energy and our own ways and how we deal with people and how we interact outside the gym and everything. Mm-hmm. Our own personality. So with that being said, I don't deal with a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of motherfuckers. But when we are, if you know me and you my homie, you're not gonna call me Gary.
Gary, you're gonna call you.
You're not gonna call me Gary. You ain't even gonna call me Antonio. You're gonna call me by one of my nicknames. You're gonna even call me
Tito. Okay.
Tito, Finesse God, Latin Lover. You're gonna call me something that my homies actually used to call me. Same with the rest of my brothers. Ain't nobody gonna be like, oh Gary, hey Antoine, nah, Tweezy, Twan. Oh, LG, Big Al. We know who. People know who is who and who really fuck with us and the ones we close to. If we went to school or something, then yeah, you might, hey, what's up, girl? At that moment, everybody turning.
Right.
We all in the mall together. Hey, girl, that's my man, girl. Everybody turning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's crazy. Now I feel you on that, man. Shout out to Culture Nerds. This says Clay late night interview. Shout out to the Russell family. For sure, man. I don't normally do the night show. I'm normally on in the morning, but I did a pop-up, you know what I mean? A pop-up tonight. So, and Nook was in the gym with you and was like, yo, you want to do that thing now? I'm like, you know, I wish I could have prepared a little bit more, you know what I mean? Been ready, because I like to do, but I still have a good time talking and building on boxing, man. I hope that you come back on the show at some point in time. You know what I mean? There's always an invitation all the time, and I mean, for the whole Russell family to come up here and build. But But yeah, man, definitely a last minute pop up, man. So anything you want to leave to the people, you want to let them know what to look forward to, what what to expect. You know what I mean? What
I got you. Y'all can look forward to me being back in the ring at May, whipping some ass, eventually getting the belt. And just stay tuned. And y'all can follow me on Instagram at GA Russell, anything. I'm not really a big social media fan, but I'm going to get around to it so the rest of the people who actually not hating and actually do show love to me can actually follow me, and actually get to know me more outside of boxing. Y'all probably get to see my personality and shit maybe through my page or anything that I do.
That DMV situation, and not to hold you longer than I need to hold you, right? I don't want to hold you too long because you got to go to sleep. But like the Keyshawn Davises and that's like DMV, right? Virginia, is that part of like that DMV to Virginia? Yeah. How does that work out?
I mean, DMV is DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Boom.
For me, so if you're speaking of the DMV, you have to mention DC, Maryland, Virginia all together. And the separation when you just say DC or Maryland.
Yeah, that movement seems to be big then. That's why I wanted to get to say the movement of the DMV. You got Keyshawn, you got you guys, you got obviously you got Jaleel Hackett, right? He seems like he just made a move. Lamont, right?
Tank Lamont.
Even Tank, right?
Scooter Davis.
Yeah,
Scooter Davis. We got the up and coming guys like Dwayne, who about to fight. Sugar Wayne, who's about to fight April 12th off of Showbox. Bricklayer and all of them. You feel me? These are all upcoming DMV fighters, and we have some DMV fighters that's actually active right now, So it is a big
right now.
We got a whole little movement coming on. And I want to talk about that.
Okay.
As far as the DMV fighters, and this is just my opinion. This is my opinion because I got to keep it at least 97. I'm going to never keep it 100 with y'all asses. I'm going to keep it like 97, though. Everything ain't all right. You feel me? I honestly feel like the DMV fighters have so much talent that's unseen. It's unseen, and a lot of people won't be able to experience it unless a lot of other fighters and coaches in them DMV push their fucking egos to the side. Because in my opinion, with all the talent that I see in the DMV area, whether it's DC, Maryland, and Virginia, it's no reason I feel like we should have way more champions from the DMV area if we stop hating on each other and come together and work together. There's no reason the gyms that's in the DMV area are all not working with each other or all not sparring with each other. It's understandable if we have fighters in my weight class that no, I don't want to fucking spar with y'all. I don't want y'all to come to my gym. No, none of that. That's understandable. But when you don't, and y'all just really want iron to sharpen iron so y'all can reach that pinnacle of the highest point of where you want to be in your career.
Right.
I feel like motherfuckers need to put their egos to the side, and motherfuckers start working together. And I feel like if we was to do that, we'd have so many more champions from the DMV area.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I think there's a lot coming out over there. And that's kind of a question, too, you kind of answered as far as like, the unity, being out there. How is it? You know what I mean? Like, is there communication between, and it just seems like you kind of answered that question, right? Like it should be better than what it is. You know what I'm saying? That shout out to iPhone. You know what I'm saying? It's always sitting there trying to, with the AI, gave the thumb up. You put the thumb up, so it did it for you.
Try to do that.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. It does a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, man, the unity would be great to see, man. You know what I mean? I know that as far as like Lamont Roach and how you want to share any opinions or speak on what you expecting to see from him in the rematch with Tank. What'd you think about him when he fought Tank the first one, about the first fight? What'd you think?
Man, look, I grew up with these guys. I watched them fight each other. I fought in tournaments with both of them. So I told people, don't expect this fight to get stopped. Expect it to go the distance.
Okay.
I said, Lamont ain't about to go in there and lay down. Like, naturally, he's the bigger guy. Tank might appear bigger because, Lamont came up, but come on. If you look at them, you see who's naturally bigger for real.
Right. No, it was funny when they did the face-off, you saw it. It was like, damn, man, he bigger than Tank. For real.
Yeah, he's naturally bigger than Tank. Tank is extra twitchy.
Mm-hmm.
He got them twitchy ass joints. His reflexes is pretty good, and I feel like that's what he was going to bank on.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being real, I thought Tank was going to edge it off because of the boxing ability. Lamont not really a boxer.
Right.
You feel me? He got good defense. He know how to counter good, and he know how to apply smooth pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like with their styles, the way their styles matched up from the amateurs, I feel like it was going to be very similar, but at a slower pace because they have on smaller gloves now and motherfuckers can get hurt.
The consequences are a lot bigger.
You know, so I knew the fight was going to play out that way. And I told a lot of people, don't bet that Tank going to stop him. Don't bet that. Lamont ain't about to just lay down. Lamont can actually fight now. Y'all unaware how good he could fight. I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know what he's going to bring to the table. He ain't about to just lay down.
Did you when you saw the performance, did it pretty much check the boxes of what you expected, or did Lamont perform better than you thought he would? Did Tank underperform, or did you just kind of see it going that way?
If I'm being real, Lamont performed less than what I thought he was going to.
Wow.
I'm being real because I watched Lamont. I watched him. I grew up watching him fight. Like I said, when you good, you always in the nationals together. So he was always there. Even in the junior tournaments, he was there and he was winning. So honestly, I feel like I can't say it was the respect level. I don't know. It could have been. They both they cool also. They could have just had so much respect for each other. You know? That's what it could have been.
Are you expecting anything in the second fight? Now that now they got these 12 rounds in together, are you expecting that to translate into something different in the next fight? Are you expecting to see more from Lamont, or?
I expect to see more from both of them this fight. I feel like both of them will be willing to take more risks. I feel like they're going to be able to take more risks. I don't know if like the audience or all the comments that they've been getting from social media and just the boxing world alone,
right,
is going to set the tone on how they perform. But if they went back and they studied the fights like that, I expect them to. I feel like as a great fighter and great coaches, their coaches should look back at that shit and be like, hey, nah, this is what we're going to do this time. And I feel like they're going to pick it up the second fight. I feel like the second fight was going to be way more entertaining and way more explosive.
50-50?
Could be. Depends on what Lamont shows up and what Tank shows up. Okay. Style makes fights, and their style is always going to clash or become like a chess match type of fight unless one decides to just mash on the gas.
Right.
And whoever do that, their openings and shit comes. So we'll see.
Things happen. All right, man. Antonio Russell, man. Salute to you, family. Thank you for popping up. This last minute situation, you popped up. I appreciate you. Like I said, man, I hope that we can do this again. Hopefully after your next fight, you know what I mean? On the back end of that victory, and we could talk about what's next, how you feel about it, and what you think is next.
Definitely.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna let you go at that point. Antonio Russell, guys. Thank you, family.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, bro. Please. You did me the biggest favor tonight. You blessed my channel tonight, man. So I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. King, man.
Yes, sir, man. Salute to you and your family, man.
Get some
rest. Yo, righty. That was Gary Antonio Russell in the building, man, right? We was building a little bit. We kind of left off. Shout out to G Tatter in the building, Arena in the building as well. Jermaine Anderson saying, damn. So that means Lamont got more than what we all witnesses. That's interesting, right, Jermaine? You know what I mean? I thought that was interesting too. I thought a lot of things came out interesting. You know, that whole family and everything they got going on is kind of an amazing story. And I told my boy Nook, you know, he's a personal friend of theirs, and shout out to Nook, well connected, who put this together. I told him that family has like a movie worthy kind of thing going on, right? Like everything that's going on with them, with the passing their father, and, you know, all of them, the Garys, you know what I mean? The Gary Russells, you know what I mean? Coming up in the game. It's a real interesting story to watch develop, you know what I mean? Seeing Gary Antoine Russell get that WBA title, when you look at the story behind the loss against Alberto Puello, and he got blessed with an opportunity to jump into an actual title fight off of that, and bring it full circle. You saw how it affected the whole family, right? You saw how it affected the whole family, how they came together and they put everything in into this boxing thing. So we wish them all the best. We want to see them all do great things, man, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for them, right? So it is what it is. You know what I am going to do, though? Riding off that, I see we only got a few people in the building. I know there's 1,000,001 things going on in the space right now. Everybody got their channel bumping right now. This ain't my time slot, right? I'm normally in the daytime, but I did throw the link out there if anybody wants to step up and build on anything. I want to keep on continuing to build a little bit on this whole entire Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda situation as well. Going ahead and continuing to say, yeah, I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to them all. Yeah, Jermaine, for sure. For sure. Salute, G Tata said, and salute Claymore, assalamu alaikum. 100, but remember, I was on record trying to tell y'all about Lamont from the jump. Now, give me my credit. Now, I'm going to give you your credit, man. Salute to you, family. Salute to you, family. You definitely was out there. I'm not going to hide it. I was sleeping on Lamont, and I wasn't sleeping on him as far as his ability to box and his pedigree and what he was. I mean, always acknowledge the fact that he was a 130-pound champion, right? For good reason. Just question his ability to have what he was doing at 130 against the competition that he was fighting at 130. Had a hard time wrapping my mind around how that would translate in front of Gervonta Tank Davis, who's in punching hard at 135, and people were actually pushing to see Gervonta fight at 140 and compete with those guys because he just seemed to be on a whole nother level in comparison to the people he was fighting at 135. But to my surprise, and I love those surprises, those are the best surprises. I love when fighters, for argument's sake, prove me wrong and show out the way Lamont did, right? That was a pleasant surprise and a great thing to be wrong on, and definitely makes the fight coming up in June or whenever it is that they plan on having that rematch is that much more interesting, right? Definitely looking forward to that rematch. Salute to Love My Kid says, we love you, Clay. I love you too, Love My Kids. Thank you. I appreciate you. The love is there, man. Well Connected said, I told you, Clay. I know. Listen, I've been hearing I told you to this day. Shout out to Deontay Wilder with the I told yous, man. Everybody got the I told you, man. Say Claymore said, can you give me my props, G? I was on record from jump saying, I just did. G Tatted, I literally just did. I just did this whole entire speech, what I'm saying, about how I was wrong. And, you guys were calling it and seeing it for what it was. And, yeah, man, interested in seeing what Lamont's going to do, man. And I'm looking at Lamont in a whole different way now as well, man. I want to see Lamont against a lot of other guys besides Tank. I want to see him against Shakur. I want to see him against Keyshawn. I want to see him against the names, Raymond Moratala. I want to see him against all those guys, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I need to see him at 130 anymore, right? He might want to vacate. I don't know. I'm not, putting anything out there. But at the end of the day, I want to see him at 135. 130's got a lot going on, but 135 could definitely use a willing dance partner with the pedigree that Lamont Roach brings to the table to be up there, right? Let me see. Tank's still on a different level than most of those fighters. Arena said, yeah, Tank is on a different level than most fighters in general, right? And I think that's where the heat comes from. I know that's where the heat comes from, where the pressure comes from as far as the Tank conversation. It always goes in that area, right? Where people feel like he's not getting a fair shake. It's not the fair shake that he's not getting. It's the caliber and the pedigree of fighter that he is, that he's proven himself to be. And, the understanding of a hardcore boxing fan or a real pugilist in this space, the understanding of how it's going to take certain fighters to bring the best out of him. Not anybody can check those boxes, right? And that's where the pressure comes from. That's where, and especially for me, right? I can't speak for everybody else, but that's where the pushback comes from, right? Is understanding, not that guy. Not that guy. It's a certain guy, right? It's 2 or 3 guys that check that box. And, this is where the pressure comes from that we put on Tank to put on the biggest fights, because we understand that he's a fighter who's levels above most of his peers. Levels above most of his peers, right? It is what it is. Let me see here. G Tatum said, and Devin Haney is on record saying that Tank isn't a real 135 pounder, that everybody 135 is all naturally bigger than Tank, and he don't know why I think would go. Wait, I think he would go to 140. I knew it would translate because I knew that Lamont is naturally bigger than Tank. He just chooses to squeeze down to 130. It ain't only about the physical size, G Tatted. Like I hear you, but it's not only about the physical size. It's about your body acclimates, right? When you're for fighters in general, your body acclimates. If you're fighting at 130, you got 130 power, you're getting punched on by 130 people, your punch resistance. There's an acclimating that has to happen, right? Like that's the big conversation with Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, right? Terrence Crawford has the longer arms. When you see them standing around each other, Canelo doesn't look that much bigger than Terrence. Physically, Terrence is aesthetically not that far off from Canelo Alvarez, but the understanding of Canelo Alvarez's experience at 168, he's been fighting there for so long. He's a champion. He's being punched on by, so he's built up a certain resistance, and he's acclimated to the division in a way that Terrence hasn't been able to acclimate yet. And that's where a lot of people feel like there's this huge mismatch, right? Because they understand. That's why they want him to get the tune-up, right? They want him to get that tune-up at 168 or 160. They want to see him in there. They feel like him going into a Canelo Alvarez fight without those tune-ups is going to be one of the key reasons why they feel like he's just going to get, it's not going to be a competitive fight, which I disagree with, obviously, right? Of course, I disagree with that, but at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And when you look at what happened with Lamont Roach and Tank Davis, what made it great was, we didn't know how he was going to acclimate to that 135 division, and he did such a great job. And we're looking forward to see him. Look him at him in rematch and see what's going to happen, man. Loki said, can't allow someone to take you out mentally. No doubt. I see the numbers is going down. We only got 10 people in here. I know we got a lot of lives going on right now. I do have the link out there if anybody wants to come on. Other than that, though, I understand it's late evening. I plan on going up tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. I'll be up Eastern Standard Time building on this boxing. Wanted to add some perspective, but, it is what it is, right? It's late night and not everybody's on the same page. But yeah, this Shakur situation, just to kind of land the plane on the Shakur situation, G-Tad, grandmother lives Worcester, Salem, Alaikum, no doubt. With the Shakur Stevenson, Turkey Al-Sheikh, Oscar De La Hoya, Williams Zepeda, this whole situation, we'll see how it develops, right? We know that the WBC order they mandated the fight, and that there's a negotiation that has to happen. And we got to see where Oscar De La Hoya is at with it as well. Oscar's, he's talked a lot of talk, but when it comes to putting these fights together in the last minute, it's nothing for Oscar De La Hoya to pull a stunt, strategically move Williams Zepeda in a way where he turns it around and makes it look like it's not a worthwhile fight all of a sudden. And we don't know what's going to happen, right? But Shakur Stevenson, to me, has a history of trying to make the fights. This is not going to, if this fight doesn't happen, it doesn't not happen because of Shakur Stevenson. I know people are talking about him pricing himself out and doing things. That's not going to happen at this point for Shakur. Shakur Stevenson has a hard time making the fights. People don't want to fight him. He's not going to give, I don't see him giving Williams Zepeda or Oscar De La Hoya a way to get out of this fight to where he's asking for too much money. He's pricing himself out. I'm hearing Oscar De La Hoya talking about they want a 55-45 split, which I think is kind of crazy to a degree. But listen, I can be honest also and say that Shakur's a little bit in a little bit of a desperate, a little bit in a desperate situation, a little bit where he kind of has to take these fights, right? He got to make something happen. He has to concede. He has to compromise a little bit, and he kind of has to push these fights into position in order to have that on his resume and be able to get opportunities to put those performances out there to build his market value up. So Oscar's aware of that. And so how's he operating and wielding that leverage? He's doing it at the negotiation table. Salute to G Tatted. How you doing, family? What's good with you, King?
I'm good, man. You can hear me?
Yeah, man. I hear you clear, man. How's everything going over? Did you come up here to boast a little bit? Like I told you.
I ain't come up here to boast at all, man. What I came up here to say was one thing, though. I've been wanting to get off.
Okay.
A lot of people, and we got to do better on this internet, how we treat these fighters, win, lose, or draw. And I wanted to say that because, see, you got fighters like Tank. He's on record saying his biggest fear is to lose. And then you got other elite fighters out there who aren't quick to put on these big fights. And I believe it's because, not because they scared, but I believe it's because when they put on these big fights, if they come up short, they totally get humiliated and disrespected online. And I think Tank is one who sees that too. And I don't think a lot of fighters are really scared. I think they don't want that. You got to remember these fighters is human too. They have a mental capacity too.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that. Look at Devin Haney. He didn't even lose. I mean, we know what happened, but he got it overturned. But look at the backlash he's getting.
Right.
Look at the
Right.
backlash, and it's like that. And people say, not from the world boxing, the real boxing fans, but boxing is 90 to 95% casual dominated nowadays, and it's the casual fans who do that. And
Right.
I think if it was more where people would be like, a fighter like Tank or any of them fighters put on a fights they want to see if they come up short and they still salute them and encourage them to go on. I believe he would have been put on those fights. I believe a lot more fighters would be quick to risk it. But now they see it's like, darn, if I do give these fans the fight they want and I come up
Mm-hmm.
short, they're not gonna respect it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to respect it at all. They're going to totally humiliate me, disrespect me. And it's not even just the fans now. Sometimes even the promotional companies and the teams switch up on them.
Right. Right.
I don't know
I've
how that
always
would
said,
change.
GTAT, I've always said that, there's a certain disenchantment from these fighters, right?
Hmm.
From the way that the fans have treated them, and the way that the casual fans are kind of like pick sides, and they scream and they say things like Shakur, he's gonna go overseas to go get it. That doesn't help. The fan base has desensitized these fighters, a lot of these fighters, from caring about what the fans in America think, right?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
look at Terrence Crawford, and he's like, man, F a fan, right? They don't know what's going on in here. They don't respect what we're trying to do in here. They don't respect the science of boxing and the sweet science. And if you ain't doing it the way they want you to do it, or if you're on the opposite side of the conversation from their favorite fighters, they're gonna cut you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Shakur also has kind of turned into that, right? Where
Yeah.
I don't care about no fans, bro. F the fans. And even, yes, Gervonta Tank Davis himself, you know what I'm saying, has always, in my personal opinion, carried himself in a way to where he's kind of like ignored the fans, even his own fans. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And you can
Hmm.
tell when he's not fighting, he doesn't have a fight coming up, he's completely disconnected from the boxing space, right? Like, he's
Yeah.
not popping up on these lives or popping up on what I mean, he's not doing what we just saw Antonio do. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He's not having
Hmm.
these moments. He doesn't have, even with the Rise podcast, which is his home podcast, he's not going on there. You know
I
what I'm
haven't
saying?
seen him on there. I haven't seen him on there since, matter of fact, back when Blue Blood was on there and he was on there with him.
Exactly, right? So
Yeah.
he's disenchanted with the whole entire space. He understands, just like a lot of fighters do, that you're good when you're good, but as soon as you have that loss or something happens, he expects
Hmm.
everybody to turn on him. Look what they did at Brooklyn, right? He
Hmm.
was like, man, y'all just that quick, right? A building that was
Listen.
all for him and cheering him on the whole time, and came out to see him in a moment's time, turned on him and gave him hell. And it's just the
That's
way.
why when Blue
Mhm,
Blue disagreed with what Tio said, and I
mhm,
kind of agree with what Tio said. Remember the speech that Tio gave? How he said, "Look how everybody turned on Tank real quick. As soon as he had a little controversy, they switched up." It's true. You can see it. You can see it. You've seen it happen in real time. Like,
right.
people, listen. I know people that was cheering Tank on as big Tank fans that switched real quick, and I was like, damn, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And he's aware of it. He's aware of it. And
Mhm.
as much as his fans are looked at as the best fans in boxing, right? Like, they looked at, not the best fans in boxing, but it's
Rabbit fans, that's what Blue call them, like Rabbit.
yeah, they're rabid. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? They're the most confrontational, indifferent, you know what I mean, fans in the space. Like, when they
Mhm.
jump in the room, it's going down, you know what I mean, for Tank. But
Mhm.
at the same time, they clearly, like I said, Tank doesn't pop up on y'all channels
Nope.
and say, "What's up, man? Thank you for the support." And that's not a shot at Tank. That's an understanding on the perspective. of a fighter like Tank, who understands like that's not real. That's artificial. That's only there because I'm doing what I'm doing the way I'm doing it right now. I can't, if I take the time off, and look what I did when the Lamont Roach fight, where I had an off night, right? Where I had a lot of chaos going on in my corner. I had two trainers kind of like trying to talk over each other. I had, you know, whatever's going on in my personal life, and, you know, whatever's going on in my business, and the way I'm looking at boxing right now. So I had an off night. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Did they have my back? Not necessarily. You know, the building kind of turned on me a little bit. So in from his perspective, he kind of expected it, right? Like, I know that's what y'all do. So that's why I don't even care. That's why I don't even put effort in making the biggest fights or doing that. I do what's going to be good for me. I put the fight together that makes sense for me, for my family, for my pockets. I'm concerned with that. I'm in it to get what I'm getting. And when I'm done getting it, you probably won't hear from me no more. I'm going to be out of here.
That's why I always
none of y'all in consideration.
From the jump, you know, it was like, I can't even say 5 years back now. Time flies so fast. I know it was Chubby Tank with the haircut. He was asked by a reporter back then,
right,
is he in it for money or is he in it for legacy? And he said, I'm in it to change my family's lifestyle. I'm in it for the money.
Right.
So back then I seen that. That's why when I say people, I understand pure people who love the sport of boxing and they want to see the best fight the best. I never pushed for it because I'm like, I knew what he was in it for, and I liked them and respected them from the jump. And I mean, I want to see it too. And like I said, if the fans was different, not just with Tank, I believe a lot of these fighters wouldn't mind pushing, risking it.
Right.
I wish, like,
100%.
your honest opinion, if Tank was to fight Shakur next and he was to get outboxed, if Tank was to fight Keyshawn next and get knocked out, what do you think would happen to him on the internet?
I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, I'll answer that question directly and said he get tore down. But you know why he get tore down? And I tell Blue this, I tell Ray Davis this, people who I talk to, it's not about Tank, it's the fans, right? You'll find yourself arguing, even me, right? And that's why, you know, I'm very selective on how I deal with the Tank Davis conversation, because I know the fans are real. They can be toxic at times, right? But the reason I'm sensitive about getting into arguments, because I know after a while it does look like I'm hating on Tank, right? But the reality is I'm not hating on Tank. I'm arguing with Tank fans. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
They set y'all up for that. I see them sit back and set y'all up for that.
You're arguing with Tank fans, and from the outside looking in, especially if you jump into the middle of the argument and you see what's going on, what does it look like? Man, they always hating on Tank. No, it's not hating on Tank. We're speaking on boxing, but we get into it with Tank fans who want to put accusations on you, throw jackets on you, call you a hater, say this, and now you're fighting back. And what are you fighting back on? You're fighting back on the opposite side of a conversation where you might be holding Tank accountable for something, where you might be talking about you want to see Tank fight Shakur and what's it going to take for that fight to happen. And now it looks bad. It looks like you're hating on Tank. And I've always said it from day one. I don't hate Tank. I like Tank as a fighter. I think he's a high-level fighter. That's why I want to see him fight the fights I want to see him fight. But I'm not going to let you guys drag me into some situation to where I'm hating or looking like I'm hating on a fighter. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to do it. You guys can have it. I'll give you my opinion. I'll be like, listen, man, it is what it is. I'll smile. I'll let you have it, bro, and we can keep it moving, because it looks bad. It does look bad at times, and I want to be part of the solution, never want to be part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? And what you brought up tonight, like when you came up here, is real. You know what I mean? Like, we always tearing down something. You know what I mean? We're always doing this, and it puts the fighters in a space to where they got to think twice about failure. They don't want to lose. They want to keep their O's, because they feel like they're going to lose the support of the space if they fight in something competitive and they don't come out on top. They have to weigh that out. You know what I mean? We don't get what we want as the fans, man. We got to learn to celebrate these guys the same way they do in the UK, right? The UK, their dude loses, it don't matter, bro. They're out there like, yay!
Yeah, exactly.
They're celebrating him. The building is still going crazy. They can't wait to see him fight again. So
look how they come out for Dillian White still. Look how they come 100%. Out for AJ. Like, they still come out. They salute. Yeah, they cheer him on.
Right. Right. They give them what they need to look at. And shout out to Fight Sports Talk right now. But look at George Kambosos. You know what I'm saying? Look at Tim Tszyu. Look at the response he got the other night having that performance against Joey Spencer. He's back like he never left. They want to
Exactly.
see, they loving every minute of it, right? He came off of
Mhm.
2 crazy losses. His last loss was crazy. If
Yeah.
Kingsley was an American fighter who suffered the loss that he lost
Mhm.
against Bakram, bruh, they would have threw him away, bro.
It's,
In
it's
America.
just like
Written
it's
off.
just like, and I'm gonna say a couple more, and I'm gonna let my man get up here. It's just like if Devin Haney loses his next fight, or let's say he wins his next fight and he loses to Devin. It's
Right.
it's almost like his career is over because
100%.
of his fan base, because
Yeah.
of how they are.
Right.
And another thing, somebody told me the generation, this fan base is different from back when Tyson and them was fighting. The fans wasn't like this. I argued this and I gave this person a point and he sat there and he said, you know what, you may be right. I said, no, it's no different. Imagine if back when Tyson and all of them was fighting, we had the type of internet platforms we have. It would
Oh
be the
man.
same. I believe it would be the same.
It
Social
would,
media
because
has changed everything.
yeah, we don't know. We don't. I say this at times too, and I definitely want to let Fight Sports Talk get the floor too
Yeah.
and speak. I always say this, man. I don't think boxing fans know how to be fans of boxing.
Nah.
You know what I mean? We get into conversations of things that really isn't our business, right? We take things personal. We start talking about their money. We start talking about these different things, and we don't know how to be fans of boxing. We
Mhm.
don't understand the power that we have as fans to motivate fighters to test themselves and to
Mhm.
push it for us, right? Like when you think of the Gladiator movie, right? With Jack, I was gonna say Jack Russell, but not
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, right? That movie, when you saw the Gladiator being celebrated, and you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What they call him again? What was his name again in the movie? What they call him? What they were screaming his name
Oh
at
God.
again? Oh God, bro! Spaniard,
Maximus.
Spaniard,
Oh yeah,
Spaniard,
yeah.
right?
That was his gladiator name. Yeah.
Right, but that juices him up, right? To do the work, to get
Mhm.
busy in there, to put his life on the line. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to be fans of boxers, bro. We don't know how important it is. I believe if people were really celebrating the best fights happening and really showing up for that
Mhm.
exclusively, you'd see a fighter like Tank be like, yo, I want to give that to them. I want the building to go crazy. So if that's
Yeah.
what it is that they want, I'll give it to them, right? But that's not what
Mhm.
we see. That's not what we see happening. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So, yo, shout out to Fight Sports Talk in the building,
Hey,
man.
I'm
I
about to
know.
roll out. I wanted to say one more thing. Shout
Yeah.
out to you and Blue.
Mhm.
I'm a real big Tank fan. Everybody knows that. I used to be kind of on a crash out thing, but I learned a lot from y'all to be a fan of the sport first and a fan of the fighter second.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important, man. It's important for the sport. Like I've said, and I think I've heard Blue definitely say, man. Yeah, I know for a fact I've heard Blue say, yo, this sport is going to be here. This sport was here before your favorite fighter, and it's going to be here after your favorite fighter. So love the sport too, man. Don't forget about the sport, man. Love on the sport. Love on your fighter. Celebrate him, but don't forget to love on the sport, because sometimes we
Salute.
neglect the sport. We neglect the sport, bro, for fighters, bro, and it's sad.
Exactly. Salute to everybody on the panel too. Y'all have a good night.
You too,
Salute,
man.
brother.
Salute to you, man.
Eh,
How you
All right.
doing? What's the weather like in New Zealand? Well, let me go ahead and say salute and good evening to Miss Love My Kids, man. I love that name, by the way. Love My Kids. Assalamu alaikum,
Oh,
sis.
walaikum salam. Thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem. And
But I was,
salute,
oh, sorry.
salute.
No, let him talk. I don't know how to do these panels, so I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, sir.
No problem. One moment. And salute to Hood Rich. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother right there. I always loved seeing him on the panel. Salute to everybody on the panel tonight, man. I'm gonna let Fight Sports do his thing right quick, and then we'll pass it over to Love My Kids and
Oh,
let
no,
her.
you're okay. I'm good.
Oh, look, ETB in the building on a late night.
Yeah, and oh, sorry, Clay.
What's good with it?
Doing good, Keon. One moment, man. Let me let Fight Sports have at it, and I'll bring it right full circle to you, man. So what's good with you?
Yeah,
First of all,
definitely.
you already know what my question is. So do I need to ask it, or are you just gonna let me
Well,
know what's good?
the weather is excellent. We're back to proper summer weather, man. Now, I've only got a few minutes just
Sure.
because it's middle of the day, but of course I had to jump on my brother from another mother's show, and I was gonna I was really gutted I missed yesterday's show, man, because there was so much to talk about, but it's you guys went live at 3 a.m. my time, so it was one of those things. But
Right.
yeah, well, really glad I could jump on, and I I mean, just I could say a lot about what you guys were talking about earlier
Mm,
about the fan bases of the sport, but yeah, it's a result of. I mean, I would just, if I could just add maybe one thing, it's a result of social media. It's a result of people being extremely impatient these days, and reactionary. I mean, it's the cool thing to have an extreme reaction to what happens. So somebody loses, oh, they're terrible and worst thing ever, worst fighter ever. It wasn't like this back in the day. And I guess one thing I will say, Clay, it's about the Benavides news. I was quite surprised you on Ring IQ, because we were both there I was there for a short time. You
mm.
seem to kind of be putting it on Benavides a bit for this.
No, did I put it on Benavides? Of course, I think it does go on Benavides' shoulder, because I think what he did to make that David Morrell fight, I wanted him to, for me, it's like you have a choice. It seems like you had a choice and you didn't need to receive an email championship. You could have been a little bit more patient. It seemed like the powers that be was willing to work with you. Turkey was willing to work with you, give you that fight with Caleb Smith, make it lucrative, put you on that undercard, and seemed like he had you in mind for, not only in mind, like you had the spot to go ahead and fight for Undisputed or whoever won between Better Beef and Bivol. And it just seemed like you allowed the handlers and the powers that be around you to kind of like take the wheel when you just took the wheel from them in building the David Morrell fight, right? Like it almost happened with the Jesse Hart, but I was kind of hoping that the whatever it was that woke him up in the middle of the night and say, F that Jesse Hart fight, I'm going to make the David Morrell fight happen. I was hoping that there was a boss energy about him. You know what I mean? That would get in front of something like that and be like, nah, we're not going to do it like that. I want to fight the winner of that fight, because that's a legacy fight for me. We don't need to do that. Now, don't allow them to, that's all it was. I'm not mad at David Benavidez per se. I'm a fan of David Benavidez. I think he's a great fighter and he's always looking to fight the best. I truly believe that he allowed Mauricio Suleiman and Samson Leakowitz and those outside moving parts to kind of like take the driver's seat again from him and put him in the back seat and have them guide him, which is, I don't know, you got to wait out. It's checks and balances. Sometimes you do need to be guided, but sometimes you need to also say something.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, okay, I completely understand where you're coming from. Like David, the thing is, he could have waited. I personally don't blame him for not waiting, because you wait for the fight and you fight Callum Smith. I mean, that's the perfect scenario. But there's always a chance that maybe the winner gets injured, maybe the winner retires, so he'd be fighting for vacant belts anyway. The only, I mean, now it is what it is, so it's all in the past. I certainly, as a big Benavides fan, and I would have picked him to beat Bivol if the fight happened. I certainly won't be okay with any Jesse Hart title defenses. Like the fight, he has to be fighting guys like Callum Smith or Alberto Ramirez, and I believe, but because of who he has fought since he stepped up in competition, he'll do that. But we'll wait and see. And if Bivol beats Beterbiev in the trilogy, which I think he will, then there's the potential for that fight happening next year, and that is the kind of fight that gets me very excited as a fight fan. So we'll hope that happens. This news with Shakur, I think Turkey saying last month that he would not bid on the fight, and the news that's come out about Shakur, it does seem like we're starting to see the limits of what Turkey can bring to the sport, which is fine. Like I was a supporter of what Turkey did, but I was never delusional about it and thought, oh, this means he's the savior of the sport. No, he's just going to bring us good fights when he can, and obviously there's limits to what he can do, and I think we're seeing the limits.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's G-Tat. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, bro? Okay. No doubt, man. Salute, Keon. What's good, man?
What's going down with it, man? Yeah. I was just in the background listening to the whole conversation, and I know one of the things y'all was talking about was, was the fans back in the day different than the fans of today, right? And you were saying that, we can't really tell because fans wasn't on the internet, back then, right? And I would agree with that, right? But I will also say the fans is different. They got to be different, right? And you were talking about Tank Davis's fans, and to me, right, a lot of that stuff ain't on him, but he got the worst fan base. He just, it is what it is. I gotta call it for what it is. Like before his fan base, we never seen another fan base advocate for not making the best fights. Like tell you like, oh, he don't have to fight this guy because of this, or he don't have to fight him, or this guy. And like, I've never seen a fan base do that. We didn't see when the whole Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather saga was going on. You didn't hear Manny Pacquiao fans saying, "Oh well, Floyd don't deserve to fight Manny Pacquiao because of this," or Manny Pacquiao don't deserve to fight Floyd because of this. All fans wanted to fight. The fans was arguing over, oh well, who's ducking and why the fight's not happening.
First of all,
like with man, I'm talking. You gonna have your turn.
You don't have to be rude because I was up before you. You don't have to be rude to me, sir, because I was actually here before you. So don't be disrespectful.
Chill out.
Yo,
all right. Go ahead and finish building right here.
You see how emotional Tank fans get.
I know what Tank fans, buddy. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, I don't know what the problem is.
I
don't know what.
I was agreeing with you, and then you got disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? It's not that serious.
No. First of all, I didn't even hear a woman talking. I heard a man talking.
Oh,
so I was just like,
I apologize. I don't want to argue with you, and I apologize.
I'm just hearing stuff in the background, so I'm like, hold on.
You know what you're hearing? I'm watching my Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion.
Okay. See, it's a misunderstanding. I was just that's all. But
I apologize, and I love you, and I apologize to you.
Oh no, see, it's all good. It's all good. But what I was saying is that I've never seen a fan base do that so much until Gervonta Davis's fan base. So I don't think like in no other era, I've never seen that. We ain't seen that. You know what I'm saying? Even during the internet era with these fighters, we haven't seen on a consistent basis, fan bases consistently telling you this top fighter don't have to fight these other top fighters and making excuses after excuse why they shouldn't have to, why another number one or number two fighter don't deserve to fight this guy. So I think that the fan bases are very different now, and it's just growing in the mentality that in the mentality that they have is growing because a lot of his fans are new fans coming in the sport, and when they coming in the sport, right? This is what they're learning. This is what they're hearing, and now that's becoming normalized. To me, you know what I'm saying? I'm a man in my 40s. I ain't never seen nothing like this before.
Do you think the new fans are because they're younger? Do you think it's because of like age and it's just such a different world? I was thinking it was because there was less boxers back then when Sugar Ray and stuff like that, and we didn't even get into the promotion. They handled that. We just knew this fight was coming up.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they're younger, and a lot of them came in the sport watching Tank with Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellaby, and Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellaby, they kind of carried Tank that way.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's something that's learned.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's a learned behavior.
Yeah, but it's a tough behavior.
Yeah. So now they're just escalating it throughout the sport of boxing. Now other fighters are starting to pick up that mentality.
Yeah.
So the whole mentality of the boxing fan is changing, but they're getting it from the fighters.
Right, because they get on the internet and not saying Tank and stuff, but like just what's his name? The kid, the little Spanish kid, from California.
Oh, California.
What's his name? I can't.
Ryan Garcia or something?
Yeah, Ryan Garcia. Just like, when he got on the internet and was talking all that crazy stuff. Like I said, it's a different world, like you said, a different fan base. And also, too, it's sad because I think as fans, people don't realize, the risks that people take when you're boxing. You know what I'm saying? Putting your life on the line to give us a show, and and they don't understand the risk. But can I say one thing? You're not gonna yell at me? Can I keep? I wanted to say when
She talking to you. I ain't gonna yell
Oh
at you.
no, you got the floor. The floor is yours.
Okay, well,
We
this
can
is
go
what I was
back
saying.
and forth. Yeah.
Do you remember when the kid was on here? I mean, not the kid. When tatted up was on here, and he was saying about he was talking about how they don't care about the boxers, but also one thing I had said, and this was when I was watching the fight with you, Clay, and Blue that night, that he was not mentally prepared no matter what he was going through, if it's because he was afraid he may lose or whatever. And so if they're going to train you physically, you have to be trained mentally. You have to be trained to fight your way out of adversity. And that night, Clay, I sent you a super chat, and I said, the fact that he tried to do the Mike Tyson thing, and bite his ear off, and you told me you didn't see it, and then a couple.
And I saw the replay. No, I said
Yeah, but at the time, you didn't see it. You remember when I said that to you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And I think, like, because diversity, you have to be able to, if you fight your way out of diversity, and he wasn't prepared for that. So when he thought that he was losing, he didn't know. That's how he reacted. And they need to. That's the most important thing. I don't care how strong you are, and you have to be mentally tough. You have to be.
And see, this is that.
Hey,
This is that area. This is that area where Clay was talking about earlier. When you speak on something like this, right? Then it's you're hating. So a lot of people don't want to dig deep into this, right? Like Gervonta Davis is super talented, right? He can offensively. He's one of the best offensive fighters in all of boxing, along with the power. Plus, he has a great ring IQ. So he's super talented when it comes to all of that. We see it, right? But it's another thing that I've seen, I've noticed. And I've talked to a lot of people behind the scenes. And I talked to Clay about this, I believe, before. I've talked to a lot of people behind the scenes that said he's mentally weak. When things are not going his way, even in sparring, he's going to crash out. He don't know how to deal with it mentally. And Lamont Roach said that. Lamont Roach said it was. They asked Lamont Roach on a few interviews on several occasions, even before they fought, right? And he said they asked him basically like, him fighting Gervonta Davis in the amateurs, like, is that going to help him out? And then afterwards, they asked him, did that help him out? And he was just like, well, a little bit, but not really. He said it was more so things that I knew about him mentally, right? And basically what he was saying, once that I was right there with him, right? And he seen that I wasn't going nowhere mentally, right? His confidence was going to start going down. Then he was going to look for other ways to win. Or in sparring, I've heard several guys that sparred him when it's not going his way. He gonna quit.
A tantrum, right?
He'll quit or he'll throw a tantrum. Even Joey Gonzalez told a story about when they fought in the amateurs, right? And Joey Gonzalez beat him in the amateurs or whatever and knocked him down. And he said that Tank crashed out. He wanted to fight the ref. He just, so boxing is not only what you have physically and what you can do. A lot of that shit is it's mental and at the highest level, right? Yeah. We got 2 A+ level fighters, a Shakur and a Tank. Tank in a Keyshawn or whoever it may be. I'm just throwing names out there, right? Whoever it may be, right? A lot of times, you're not gonna win the fight off of power and talent.
Yeah,
it's gonna be mental. Who has the strongest mental when y'all when y'all going back and forth and when you need to dig deep, when you need to be able to think on a whole different level because I got this guy in front of me that's on that same level as me.
Yeah, they're professional too, right?
Yeah. And a lot of these new casual fans, a lot of these fans that's just fanatics of a fighter just because they don't understand. That's why we need to see these fighters, these A-level fighters against each other, because that's when we're able to see the best come out of you, or you might fold. And so instead of advocating why this fighter don't need to fight, oh, he don't deserve this, and why they don't need, and nobody wants this, let's start advocating to make these fights happen. And that's the biggest thing in boxing that I don't like today, because fans, they get a fighter that they love more than they love the sport. And then deep down inside, they don't want to see the fighter that they love take a loss or be in the fight to where, you can say whatever, oh, he gonna do this and he gonna do that. But deep down inside, if it's two A-level fighters, right? And I'm saying even myself, right? I know it's a chance for that fighter that I like to lose.
100%.
Right. And a lot of these fans, they don't want to see that. They want to be comfortable being a fan and watching the sport that they watch. And that's just what it is.
But
I agree. I agree with you 100%, right? And I think that these conversations do get sensitive because people don't understand. I'll sum it up. What you're saying is the test. The test is what we're looking for, because you see fighters in different scenarios, but when you haven't seen them in certain scenarios, you start to figure out, and it's about Tank we're talking about right now. You've seen him in certain scenarios, or you know what he's going to do, but you haven't seen him in those scenarios where the mental is getting tested enough, where the challenge is becoming chess. Because when we're talking about the chess match happening, we're talking about the mental part of the game, because that's the biggest thing about chess is the mental part of the game. We know he has the power. We know he has the IQ. We know that he's able to translate and do a lot of things in the space, but we want to see what happens when he's challenged and everything isn't working, and it's going to take a certain way to win the fight. We want to see how he deals with that. A lot of fighters, and you said we won't see it until he's tested, but a lot of fighters unfortunately get tested too late and they break because they're not used to it, because the development and the matchmaking that they've been getting hasn't put them in position to have to evolve. That's why you'll see an Edgar Berlanga, for example. We can move it on to him and say, how he started reacting once he stopped knocking people out, when he had those first 16 knockouts. And when he got into that first situation where the fighter in front of him wasn't going to go anywhere, you started to see him dealing with that in messy ways, right? You started to see him biting people himself and hitting them with low blows and being frustrated and acting in a certain way, because why? He wasn't used to the adversity. He just wasn't used to adversity. And that's what happens with these fighters. They see it too late. They get make too late. Shout out to my brother in the building. God, let me put you right up here. Hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Who was that? Is that Blue?
Yeah,
ETB. What's good with it, Blue?
What's up,
I love my kids. Peace and blessings, Queen.
Hi, baby. I wish I could let you guys see me right now, but I'm looking real crazy.
No, you can never look crazy.
Here, right, Blue?
You can never look crazy.
I got up here.
ETV, what up, family?
What's good with it, Blue?
I'm a squirrel in your world. You already know.
Man, if I had your hands, man, I'd cut mine off.
Oh, man. That sounds like two old men up here right now.
Hey, we on the wrong side of 40. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
I'm right there with y'all, bro.
Can I ask you something, Clay?
What'd you say?
Can I ask you? I just wanted to ask you guys something. When you were talking about the diversity and things like that, when a trainer is building a boxer and they're training them, all these years, is that something that they do? That they work on? They specifically work on, like your mental? How do besides telling a boxer, how do they train you to, like I said, to be mentally ready? Because, like, for instance, when Roach came, he was an underdog. An underdog is the best thing to be, because you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't have that mental worry, like, I got to win. You know what I'm saying? You just go in there and do what you have to do, because people are not expecting a lot from you, and like it was said with Tank, he's a nice fighter, but he's very immature in that space. His maturity level, his growth level, and the mental space is not there. So everything else to me is nothing until you get there.
Yeah, I'll take an opportunity to take a whack at this one right here. Tank, you can tell that Tank has kind of been special for a very long time in his life. He's been special, right? And I'm sure he's been treated special, right? Like given, like he's shown that he's shown the signs of being a prodigy at a very young age, right? Calvin saw it. At some point, Calvin saw and understood, like, yo, this kid is special. And sometimes those special kids, Mike Tyson, I'll give you an example. I'll use Mike Tyson, right? It don't gotta be about Tank. Mike Tyson was special, right? Custom Model saw that. Like, this kid is special. And what does that mean? That means we're going to disregard a lot of things and we're going to focus on him being the best boxer he can be. But we saw that Mike Tyson had outside intangibles that he never actually matured properly in until later in his life, right? Hearing no or dealing with you know what I'm saying? Just dealing with, you heard about the experience he had with Teddy Atlas, when Teddy had kind of like shoot the gun off by his head a little bit and get him together and rein him in, because he was special and he never got that training on the outside things, especially once Custom Model passed away. He kind of ran off in the world and didn't know any better, right? Tank shows me the sign of somebody like that, right? Who's always kind of been special. And especially with Floyd Mayweather standing next to him and him getting, Leonard Ellaby, the way they kind of moved him through the space, you saw that. But when it comes to dealing with the frustration of the game, with dealing with the pushback in the game, dealing with the accountability, dealing with the requirements, the expectations of the game, he hasn't dealt with that well. He doesn't like it. He stays out of the social media space. He's not talking to people like that. He wants to get out. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it as it becomes closer and closer to the moment of truth of being tested in those big fights. He seems to be reacting to it in an adverse way. Right, he doesn't seem to be dealing with it well. So I think the way that you get that out of the fighter is the matchmaking, is putting him in there and having him challenge. The difference between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach is that Lamont Roach came in and understood, right? Ready to deal with adversity. He embraced and expected to deal with adversity. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so there's no frustration. There's just patience. There's just understanding that this guy isn't just going to go away. This guy is a difficult fight. He's going to be a difficult fight. So I'm not going to get frustrated. I know, if anything, he knows, if anything, my mental strength is what's going to get me through this fight.
Right.
Where if anything's going to save me, is going to be that. So I think that's what it comes down to. I don't know, but I'll let the experts, Blue and Keon, build on this, because Blue.
No, but that was good. That was good. So let me ask you this: so when Mike Tyson did what he did, so of course he was frustrated, but and even though he hadn't really lost, I guess it's the same thing. He's more mature. I don't know what I'm saying. Shut up. I'll be quiet.
Yeah. I mean, look what he did with Buster Douglas. Look what he did with Holyfield, right? Like, with Buster Douglas, he was a little frustrated. He just was not handling right. But with Holyfield, he literally bit him, right? That was out of just a lack of discipline, emotional discipline. So, but I'll pass it off. I think Toya wants to say something. I think Toya want to get at you, Blue. I don't know. Why you mad, Toya?
I don't want to get at Blue. I want to get at everything boxing.
Okay. All right.
Wait, Toya, I just want to ask Toya this. You said in the chat that I'll be lying, so I just want to ask you what I lied about.
Mr. Liar.
That's my Blue.
Hey, Blue, I just be wanting to know. I remember I watched the live one time, a long time ago. You was on live with Coach Kenny, Tank, and Calvin a while ago. This is about like a couple years ago, probably 3 years ago, right? And you said, I remember you had the conversation with them. You was like, the only person that could beat Tank is Devin. I think you said Devin, Shakur, and you said and Tank himself. When you said that statement, right? And Tank fired back like, oh, I cracked both of them in sparring, woo woo. But when you said only person that could beat Tank is Tank himself, and that Lamont Roach fight, I think you hit on something, because the fact that I feel that Tank wasn't as focused, he went in there and then take it as serious because he knew Roach. He just knew that it was probably going to turn out the same way. So that fight was like him versus him, because he didn't take it. I didn't think he didn't take Lamont Roach as serious as he should. So I agree with you on that part, about the part that Tank sometimes get flustered when he can't handle adversity well. I agree with that part, because that fight shows that he didn't really take it as serious as he should have. When the fight was about to be announced and they kept pushing it back, Lamont Roach made a comment at the press conference like, yeah, I heard you been partying this and that and the third, because he just probably knew he had it in the bag. But then when it happened, he knew that, okay, I played around too much and I almost lost this fight, which they gifted him the draw. I admit that I'm the biggest Tank fan, but I do believe that they gifted him that draw. But at the same time, though, we cannot count out that these fighters go through things outside the ring.
Yeah.
Just as well as Devin went through something outside the ring. After he suffered that loss against Ryan, he went through a lot of scrutiny. Now, when he comes back in this next fight, we're going to see what type of mentality Devin has. The fact that he kept getting up after getting dropped shows what type of mentality that he has, that he's a straight warrior. And I didn't even know that Devin was a warrior like that, and I commend him on that. I don't think Tank had the warrior spirit in that fight with Roach because he's so used to just winning that he didn't have that warrior spirit to just, with the eye thing, that he didn't just, go out there and just lay it all out there in the ring. So I agree with you on that. But sometimes you be over exaggerating. You said, oh, wasn't nobody paying attention to the Roach fight. There wasn't no buzz around it, but the man still outdid himself. He outdid himself with the gate. So
okay, but let me ask you. You said the gate did 10 million. You saw the reports. It absolutely did not do 10 million. You know that, right?
I exaggerated. It wasn't 10 million. I was just saying.
But and let me say this too. The Queen, Love My Kids, she was there. Was there tickets available when you went to the gate?
Yeah, well, my son, because he lives in Brooklyn. Yeah, because he got his tickets there. Yeah, there was mad tickets there, and that's why I was sending you that. Yeah, there was. Yeah.
So I didn't lie again. What I said was, this is what happens. Is people over exaggerate. They hear what they want to hear. Right. So what I said in the video was, I said, these content creators told you that the tickets, Ellie Setback and all these dudes told you that the moment that the tickets went on sale, it sold out. And I said that was not the truth. I'm born and raised in New York. Okay. Born and raised here. There was no buzz. And like the Queen just told you, there was tickets available at the gate.
Mad tickets.
So these dudes, then they lied to you again, right? They told you that it was you listened to the telecast, didn't they tell you it was 19,000 people there?
They sure did.
And now these reports come out. Then they told you the gate was 7 to 9 million. Now the reports come out that the gate was 6 million, and it was 16,000 people there. Well, something ain't adding up.
And the tickets were cheaper.
Did he not break the gate though? Did he not break the gate that he did with Roach?
He broke his gate. But they said he broke the all-time gate. He ain't break the all-time gate. That's the exaggerate. See, y'all want to hear, y'all pick and choose.
Now you're hating, Blue. You're hating now. You quit hating, Blue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how y'all pick and choose what you want to hear. So when they told you it was an all-time gate in history, he barely broke his own gate. They told you it was 19,000 people there. Now they telling you it was 16,000.
And I remember the one dude that I was going back and forth with you. You kept telling him to go down. He said he was going to go down the block, and you kept telling him to go down there. He said, didn't he say he went down there and there were no tickets or something?
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing, right? Think about this, right? Now you just said this. You just said that Lamont Roach said it. That Lamont Roach said Tank was partying X, Y, and Z. When I told y'all it had nothing to do with the venue being canceled, the issues with the venue, y'all said that I was lying. I told y'all it had nothing to do with the venue.
And also, you were supporting Tank during the fight. It was Clay and me. There was 100, right, Clay?
Yep.
But what did I say? I said Tank is not training right now because they're not giving him the money he's looking for. It don't got nothing to do with the venue. So Tank is throwing a hissy fit right now. And he's not training. What did Lamont Roach just tell you yesterday? Tank called him and said, hey, you training? You been training? He said, no. I've been training. You been training?
Right. Worry about you.
Right? Now I'm asking y'all, right? When did Lamont Roach say anything about them telling him they had issues with the venue?
Never.
But Blue was lying. Now, another thing, Blue told y'all that Jake Paul was next. Y'all said I was lying about that. What did Jake Paul just say right now?
He said
the fight was already done
for Netflix.
He just told you the fight was already done. Right. It was if he would have beat Lamont Roach, they was gonna fight. And then what did he say? Lamont Roach. What did I tell y'all? The moment Tank wants to hurry up and get the fight, the rematch with Lamont Roach to get to that Jake Paul bag.
Yep, that's exactly what you said. I remember that. Yeah.
What did Jake Paul just tell y'all? As soon as he get this dub, we running it.
I had no doubts that it was gonna be Jake Paul next because I heard what Tank even said that when he made a tweet like y'all gonna be mad at my next fight. I already knew it was gonna be
right. But this is the problem. When I tell all I'm doing is telling y'all the truth. Why y'all mad at me? Be mad at him. When I told y'all Calvin and Kenny ain't training him. Kenny told you he ain't training them because he got to train the amateurs. Yet you saw Kenny in the corner.
Yeah.
When I said that Calvin and Kenny is not training him, you saw who was his head. When you saw All Access, who was his head trainer? Barry Hunter.
Oh, Barry. Oh, I don't know.
Barry was the head trainer.
Right. So how y'all mad at me for telling y'all the truth is bizarre.
But I want to tap in and say this, right? Because this is an interesting conversation. Because I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and I've had people want to confront me and be like, "Yeah, but blue this, blue that," and I'm like, I'm telling y'all. I don't know. I always challenge people. Tell me when the lie happened. I haven't seen it yet. And I'm just being honest, right? Like I'm trying to be as genuine as I can be, right? What lie? And it never ends up. I've never seen nobody bring it to the table. Can he be wrong? Wrong. Anybody can be wrong. Wrong,
but a lie is different, right?
Right. People can be wrong. People can miss something. Think like Blue says, and I know they hate it. Things change. Things are subject to change. They don't like that word, right? But the lie
is diabolical.
It's crazy because like I said, bro,
I try
to be as honorable as I can be. I don't stand next to liars. I don't join that. I would not be working with this dude. I've watched him. I don't know about it, but I'm always eager to hear about it and see when it happens so I can get some clarity on it.
Clay, check this out. I always say things are subject to change in the sport of boxing because it's the Wild Wild West, right?
Right.
Yep. What did we just witness today? All in one day. Edwin De Los Santos not fighting Keyshawn Davis because of the money. They looking for a whole nother opponent all the way until we get to the point where Edwin De Los Santos decides to take the money and now they're going to fight and they confirm the fight. Three different things took place in one day.
Yeah, and people will confront you like, "Yeah, Blue, I thought he was looking for another opponent." There, Blue go. Like, what are you talking about?
They be waiting for Blue to fail. Remember, Blue? Remember they said you switched up on EJ. EJ didn't like you.
EJ said it to me though. He said it to me himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bruh. And the thing is, like, this is what I always tell people, right? If y'all knew the people that I'm talking to, your jaw would hit the floor.
They get mad. Look, it's just they get mad at how fast you. I see how fast you come out with stuff.
Yeah,
they be like, how could he know this? How could he know that? And then
I'm just telling y'all.
To be right.
All I'm doing, I feel obligated. So people say, "Oh, you switched with the Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence situation."
Right.
Now, let me tell y'all about that situation real quick. Right? Is that once Terrence Crawford, people talk about, "Oh, when you seen him in 7-Eleven," when he showed me the proof, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I'm supposed to continue with the false narrative?
Right.
I can't.
And they try to pry on that too, but they'll understand. Like for cats that really follow you, we was on the night before you was trying to go to 7-Eleven and they wouldn't let you. And then you do go to 7-Eleven and it happened. Now they talk about, Blue just magically met up with Terrence. No, he was already trying to go there before Bud got there, but they don't know that part. They didn't go that deep.
And the wild part about it is I even told y'all the details of him insulting me. It wasn't even like it was a friendly confrontation. I told y'all he was like, yo, look at you with the fake braids and this and this. I recognize you.
But they don't understand. They don't understand how close and how real, you know what I mean, how real you be getting with these cats. Just, you know what I mean, just off the cuff it says. How simple was it just for me to run across Boots and I wasn't even around you for more than an hour?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Look at the picture.
Boots. Yo,
look at the picture.
Nephew, tell him. I said, come with me to eat. And who was trying to eat with us? We wasn't able to eat, and he wasn't even able to eat.
Less than an hour. Less than an
That's
hour.
all the fact.
Man. So of
course, nephew, am I lying? Was we able to eat, and was did they turn him away? Yes or no?
Real shit. 100%. Everything he's speaking is facts. And I went outside and I asked Boots for a picture myself.
Yeah, bro. So, it always blows me, like I said, you know what I mean? And that's why there's an immaturity in the space, and there's a certain amount of, for me, where I stay in my lane, I stay where I'm celebrated, I don't go where I'm tolerated, because at the end of the day, it's a toxic. And I don't, you know, shout out to I love my kids on here, but there's a feminine energy inside of the
I'm not mad about that.
Right. You know what I mean?
I don't care.
There's a feminine energy in the space where these men, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Why You Mad Tori too. And I mean not to acknowledge you as you know in the space as well, but respectfully, a feminine energy in the space to where there's an emotional attachment to these fighters to where you can't have reasonable, mature adult conversations where everything is either you're hating, it's two extremes. You're either hating or you're supporting. There's no middle ground. There's no space for a discussion, for honest boxing talk on a boxer's boxing career, right? Not on his personal life, not on how he's raising his kids, how he treat his mother, how he, you know what I'm saying? How he dealing with his tickets, how he dealing. No, just on his boxing career, to have a conversation about his boxing career in a I want to say an unbiased way, right? In just a way where you're just reading it for what it is. It's always got to be this extreme one way or the other, and it turns and it just goes left. And that shit gets old, bro. You don't want to be talking to people like that because it's not that serious. Plus, we on the internet, so we not face to face. So it's even more diabolical that you're gonna talk tough to me, or you're gonna wild out, say something crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that you're gonna do that on this internet, and we supposed to just leave it that way. It is what it is. I don't want to be involved.
And the thing is that gets me, right? Like, y'all have to understand it's just my frustration as being a lifer in the sport of boxing, right? Is that I want to see the best fighting the best. I was a person, and I don't know about I know Keon, and Clay, you know, we older gentlemen, right? So I know they had to have the same frustration I had when we didn't see Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh. And they gave us 10,000 different reasons why it didn't happen, but we never knew what was the real reason.
Right.
Well, yeah, because that was a fight we was hearing about since the amateurs when they fought.
Ridiculous.
But that's
I couldn't believe we didn't see it.
But why do it be so so y'all older gentlemen? I just got into boxing. I just got into boxing probably like 5 years ago, right? So I don't know about the history of like the older guys and who didn't fight the best back then in the day. So if it's still been that same concept into like today's boxing, why is it so much flat that Tank don't fight Shakur? Like, why y'all? I just feel like it'd be so much pressure y'all put on. Most boxing podcasts put on, oh, Tank not fighting Shakur. Why is Tank not fighting Shakur? Well, he should be fighting Shakur. He should be. But at the same time, though, you just said back in the day, it's fights that y'all didn't get a chance to see. We really don't know what goes on behind closed doors, why these fights not being made. So y'all y'all can't put one fighter why, this fighter not fighting this. Shakur just that, Oscar said he just didn't take this Zepeda fight because of pay. That's the same thing that would happen with, they said why he didn't fight that. So why it's so much flat? Because Tank say, I'm not fighting this guy. What has he done in boxing? And
it's not Toya. It's not about Shakur. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, finish. My bad.
So I feel that it shouldn't be so when he says that, like, what has Shakur done? I believe it comes from a standpoint that out of the 4 kings, right, it's supposed to have been Devin, T.O., Tank. I think Ryan. I don't even think Shakur was in those kings at that time. When he
You're
came
right.
to
You're right.
35, when he came to 135, then he became the hottest new thing because he was undefeated. His name was ringing bells. He was with Jay Prince, and Jay Prince name ring bells. So once that's another entity to give him even more clout as far as him being a boxer. He wasn't even in the topic of discussion then, right? So now they all out of 135. Devin has left 135. Ryan's not in 135. T.O.'s not in 135, right? So now it's just only Tank and Shakur left as far as the biggest names in 135. Not talking about Keyshawn. This before Keyshawn was even brought up. So at the same time, though, so what has he done? Meaning, in fact, is if Shakur's supposed to be this big name and he's not even headlining pay-per-views or even headlining the event to where he's selling out as much as Tank, that I feel that that's where he's coming from as far as what has he done. I don't think he's talking about the accolades. Yes, he's the champion. Yes, he has the gold medal and all this stuff. But what has he done as far as like selling out gates, doing this, being the headliner? He was just on the undercard in rehab season, right? He wasn't the headliner. So those numbers that they generated, that didn't just come from him. That came from Bivol and who was he fighting? Bivol and
Better BF.
And Better BF. So you can't really say like, oh, what has he like? He's generating these numbers. No, he's not really. Ryan generated numbers because he was popular. Devin at the same time, I don't think he's generated that many numbers, but he's more popular than Shakur. But Devin's not there at 135 no more. So I feel like when Tank said, what has he done? I think that's what he means. Like, what has he really done? Has he generated numbers like that? He said, fuck the fans. At one point, he said, fuck the fans. Just a year ago, he said he wanted to retire. Then he got on X Spaces and said, I don't even want to be a superstar. So while he started begging for this fight, Tank like, oh, well, I'm not giving it to you. So
I think she's 100% right. Just like he said, like, do you deserve to fight me, right?
Let me say this real quick.
I was going to say?
She's
100% ETB. Let me just touch this point real quick, ETB. So just real quick, right? You're right, Queen. Shakur wasn't in the equation, but you got to understand that Tank brought him into the equation when he was at 130 pounds, and Tank made statements about him on social media. And then Shakur said, we could run it. And then Tank said, you know what? After my next fight, I'm going down to 130 and I'm fighting Shakur Stevenson. And that's when his team and Calvin and them all started talking about Tank could still make 130 pounds. Then after the fight, he said, I'm going down and I'm fighting Shakur Stevenson. Shakur said, all right, let's run it. Then after the fight, he said, you know what? When the world started putting pressure, are you going to go down and fight Shakur? He said, no, I can't make the weight. He brought Shakur Stevenson into the conversation. That's how Shakur Stevenson, and then Shakur said, you know what? I'm going to come up to 135 anyway. And now he was like, that's why Shakur was like, now I'm at 135. You ain't got to worry about making the weight. So that's how I'm just saying to you, that's how Shakur, you're right, Queen, when you say the 4 kings was Ryan, Tank, Devin, and T.O. Shakur wasn't. Remember, I asked Shakur the question. I said, he's the Wilfred Benitez of the 4 king era. If you remember in the 4 king era, you had Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Tommy Hearns. But people forget how great Wilfred Benitez was. Right, he was the Shakur Stevenson. He was the outside looking in. Right, he wasn't the popular one, but he beat the brakes off of Roberto Duran. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, ETB. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, it's all good. Now, and so I was gonna say basically what you said, and not only that, it's not even about Shakur. This is what you don't understand, Toria. Right? It's about that Tank has had a history of this. He still has never fought the number 1 or 2 guy behind him in any division he been in. So he's had all of these names in the past that we wanted to see him fight, but somehow he ain't fought none of them. So Shakur is just another name on that long list. So it ain't about, oh, well, why does he have to fight Shakur? I mean, okay, if he don't fight Shakur, okay, well, is he going to fight Keyshawn? You see what I'm saying? So it's not just all about Shakur. But like Blue said, he was the one that brought Shakur in the equation. He was the one that said that Shakur was on his hit list. And then when he was asked about it later, he said, "Oh, I ain't never had no list." And then he's asked about it again. "Oh, why do I need to fight him? I don't need to fight him." Well, you the one that said that, right? And like I said, he has a history of doing this. So we like at this point we want to see him fight the next best guy that everybody is saying is the best guy in the division behind him. That's it. As simple as that. And as far as when me and Blue and Clay was talking about these old school fighters, right? Well, Lennox Lewis, look at his resume. Look at Riddick Bowe's resume. Yeah, maybe they didn't fight each other, but they got a hell of a resume if you do your history.
Yeah.
They made great fights after great fights after great fights. So yeah, they didn't fight each other, but we wasn't wondering, what they was gonna look like fighting another A+ level fighter. We didn't have to wonder that because they had great fight after great fight. So it's a much different situation when you talk about Gervonta Davis.
100%. And I like the way you brought it full circle, Keon, as far as saying that this is not about Shakur fighting. This is not about Shakur fighting. Love My Kids left. Oh yeah, she did. Yeah. She's not up here. Okay, yeah. Salute. Thank you, Love My Kids. Thank you, sis. This is not about Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Shakur. This is not about Shakur. This is about make some big fights. Make the fights that are there for you to make, right? If you don't feel like Shakur, okay, fine. Fight Keyshawn. Fight Tio. You know what I mean? Maybe, hindsight says maybe you should have fought Devin. You know what I mean? Fight the big fights. Don't do your whole entire career and your career be done and you didn't fight nothing. You didn't fight none of the big fights. She bounced. That's where it becomes diabolical. You know what I mean? When you talk about Lennox Lewis, you're going to look on his record, like you said, and you're going to see the other big fights he made. Yeah, he didn't fight Riddick, but you're going to see the other ones. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see the other fights, and you're going to say, like, damn, man, he fought Hassim, he fought David Tua, he fought Michael Grant, he fought Vitaly Klitschko, he fought Mike Tyson, he fought all these fighters. Okay, he didn't fight Riddick. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he didn't fight Riddick. You want to see something different for any of the great fighters, especially, in my opinion, I'm a Terrence Bud Crawford fan. I want to see him fight Canelo. I want to see him fight the big fights. If you have your favorite fighter, you should want to see your favorite fighter show and prove that he's better than the rest in the ring. If you have to sit there and say what he would have done in comparison to what he did do, there's a disconnect there. There's a problem there. You know what I mean? If the conversation has to be like, man, he would have beat the brakes off Shakur, stop playing. Or he would have knocked Devin out. You know Devin can't fight. Or he would have did. If you got to talk like that about it, there's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
I got a question, Claymore. Who do you think we're going to get first? Canelo versus Benavidez or Tank versus Shakur?
We'll say it again. David Benavidez versus who?
Canelo.
Or Shakur versus Tank?
Yeah. That's what it's looking like at this point. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of similarities with that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that is tough, man. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know, man. Maybe I would say Shakur and Tank.
I was thinking that too.
I think Shakur and Tank is the we have a better shot at getting. Now I don't know how the rest of the guys feeling here, but I feel like we are not going to see David Benavidez versus Canelo, especially with the way things have just moved recently. You know what I'm saying with David Benavidez.
There's only one boxer that all these platforms really agree on, and it's unbiased, and that's they're really their take on Wilder, and that's because of what he's shown in the ring and all this stuff. Other than that, everybody's have their own little biases and different little opinions how they want to pick. When it comes to the history of the sport of the boxing, I tell everybody, I don't give a damn if you like the dude or not. I don't give a damn if I'm on your platform or you're not. I'm gonna tell you, you want to know the history of boxing? You look no further than my guy Blue Blood. For real, he definitely gonna tell you the history of this here sport.
But can I say this? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we gave you Queen.
What I told you my son, he played professional football, and I can remember for the longest time, when all the sports they played, basketball, whatever, I always cheered for both sides. You know what I'm saying? Because both teams were out there, doing their thing. And you want to see a good game. Of course, I want my son to win, you know what I'm saying? But, I just believe you support all because everybody's out there giving you something that you paid for or something like that. And again, like you said, the supporters, people are loyal to others, but they're more loyal to themselves. And people need to understand that, they're more loyal to themselves. So, worrying and dependent, yeah, you need your fans and everything else. But you also, you got to realize it is what it is. And also, I wanted to ask you, when the situation happened with the fight, the Roach fight and the Tank fight, and from him the knockout when he took a knee. So what did they say was okay that they didn't give Roach the fight? How did they see that? Because I even went back and started reading on it and researching, what happens, if you just automatically, take a knee on your own. So what were they saying that why they didn't give him the fight? That's what I want to know.
Interestingly enough, they took ownership of the referee's mistake. They took ownership of the fact that it should have been a knee, that should have been a knockdown. And that even Tank, that with the scorecards that Tank should have lost. But at the same time, they said, they weren't going to turn over the call. They're going to keep it a draw because they feel like, I guess the story was, if it would have been counted as a knockdown, that Tank possibly could have changed the way he fought for those last 2-3 rounds, right? That he could have, he would have turned up, maybe he would have applied more pressure, maybe he would have operated like somebody who was down on the cards rather than operated somebody who might have been, maybe winning the cards, but at a minimum, a draw on the card. So they couldn't turn it around. So they took ownership of the mistake that was made. They didn't justify it. They said the referee messed up and all that, but they still kept it a draw of this round. I think they kept it a draw because.
Do you guys agree? Do you and Blue agree that they should have kept it a draw after that?
I think they made the right decision just because you can use that as an argument. If they took them 2 points, you don't know how he would have reacted. I think that they made the right decision. I didn't want to see the fighter get punished afterwards for something that he should have been penalized for in the fight. If you didn't do it in the fight, don't go afterwards and then go penalize the fighter. So I think they made the right decision. Don't overturn it for something that the referee did. And ultimately the fighter can't help what the referee does, right? The fighter can't, he could have not taken the knee, but he can't help the decision that the ref made or the decision that the ref didn't make.
Do you think Roach was wrong for them trying to have the fight overturned? Because I know if it was me. Okay.
I definitely don't think that Roach was in the wrong because we got to look at it from Roach's standpoint, right? We got to look at it from his standpoint, right? Win is huge. Win is he gonna make way more money in the rematch.
Yeah.
He gonna, it's night and day. So yeah, his team did what they supposed to do.
Okay.
I don't think he was wrong to try to get overturned, but I don't think they were wrong for not overturning it. Because then if you overturn it, right, then you punish the fighter. That's how I feel. I think I spoke about this with Clay before. I think they made the right decision, not overturn, because then you going back afterwards and you punishing the fighter. You're not punishing the ref. Right. What I think they should have done, right? Once they reviewed everything, that's what I'm saying. I think once they reviewed everything, they should have went back and punished the ref. If you're gonna do something, go back and punish the ref. Suspend the referee. You know what I'm saying? Fine him. Do something to him. Don't let him just walk off, scot-free.
And that's Blue's people, right? Blue, is that that's your favorite ref, right?
Yeah.
He's my favorite ref too.
Oh,
he was my favorite ref too.
Yeah, I love him. He's funny. He's real funny.
My thoughts. I initially was like, they should have overturned it, not to punish Tank,
Right.
But we got to make a statement in boxing, right? So I like Keon's take right there, where because my thing was, and I didn't even think about that, Key, but
Keon's my
that's a great
BFF
point.
now.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. Like you said, Key, you can't put because when you watch it, right, regardless of what we think, Tank know and don't know, I mean, it's the middle of a fight. They fighting. You know what I'm saying? And Tank taking a knee, he genuinely looked like confused, right? Like he wasn't hurt or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I disagree with Lamont Roach when I listened to him yesterday. He's like, I heard him with the jab. I again,
He wasn't.
I'm
He
not.
looked straight. He backed up, and
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, to me, I didn't think that Tank was hurt at all.
I thought he
I
was
think he,
shocked.
yeah,
He
I
just
think
got
he
caught up in his
genuinely,
privilege. He got
yeah,
caught up in his privilege to the point where he didn't even realize, like,
yeah,
he just operated in his privilege, bro. That's all he
yeah,
did.
it was a blunder, right? Like I've
Right.
seen, like to give you an example, and I just want to say, like that point that Key made was a great point, man. I think I'm gonna do a video on that tomorrow because, you know, because my thing is like how do we make a statement so this don't happen in the future? But you're right, the referee need to be punished out loud. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you're gonna be suspended for whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe his purse get docked or something. You know what I'm saying? Something gotta happen so we don't make these mistakes. But back to what Tank did, right? I've seen this, and I mean, I know Key and Clay, and I know we all watch football. So I seen in football games, players pick up fumbles and run the wrong way, or intercept it
Yep.
and run the
Yeah.
wrong way, and it's like, bro, where you going? Like it looks bizarre. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, what are you doing? Where you going? You know what I'm saying? It's like in the heat of the moment, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just make mental mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And I think that in that moment, Tank just made a mental mistake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he took an ill-advised knee, and he like it was like once he did it, he realized like, oh what I just do? You know what I'm saying? I'm tripping. Then he like, yo, hold on, don't count. You know what I'm saying? Like everything in the moment, it just was bizarre. You know what I'm saying? Like the bizarre part was like he said, he's his favorite ref. He's my favorite ref. You know he's experienced. You know what I'm saying? But he was even confused to the point where he started counting in. It's like, bro, what the hell just
Takes a
happened? Like,
stop. Right. Takes a
yeah,
stop. Right.
it was just a wow moment. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, Queen, I think initially I was like, bro, they did Lamont Roach dirty. But
Right.
when I just listened to what Keith said, you know what I'm saying? That makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tank took a blunder, and you can't punish Tank because we don't know, right?
Well,
You know
they
what I'm
should have
saying?
stopped it right then. I think Tank's side, shouldn't they have? I mean, Roach's side made them stop right then. I mean, shouldn't they have stopped it? And could they have said,
They tried. They tried. They
And
tried,
another
but
thing, this is a part of sports. It happens in every sport.
it
right,
happens. Yeah,
right,
mistakes
back
happen,
calls and everything. Yeah, back calls. Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it,
Just
it
like in
was
the
just
Super Bowl.
it was a bad judgment on Tank part. It was a bad judgment on Steve Willis part. You know what I'm saying? And even worse, New York State Athletic Commission, they couldn't get in a timely manner the instant replay. Bro, what?
Yeah, I think I
Tank,
always said that. I always said that Tank did what he did, and I don't think it was
intentional
blunder by Tank. I think if Tank felt like he needed to take the knee, it's there for that, right? It's there.
Right.
If you want to take
Right.
the knee, it's there. It's
Right.
the commission and the referee and you know what I mean, who has to hold you accountable and enforce the rules in the ring. He felt like he needed to take that knee. Take the knee. If you felt like, you know what I mean, that might have been the smart move. Maybe you were blind for a minute. Maybe you were susceptible and vulnerable to catching a bad shot and you needed to take that knee. That's there for you to take that. There's a space for you to do that, but it's called a knockdown, right?
Right.
Like it stops
Regardless,
the
right.
action. You stop the action in the ring for what I'm assuming to be a very good reason, something that you needed to stop. You decided to do that. The referee should have enforced the rule. And you know, I'm in agreement with Keon. When I thought about it, and this is the conclusion I came to. I said, I understand, I'm saying that, the argument was always going to be there for Tank's side to say, listen, man, if I would have known y'all were going to do that, I'd have fought differently. I'd have been a different person in the latter round. So that's unfair to me to make me feel like I'm in the fight and make me go ahead and move with a strategy that involves me protecting a lead rather than the strategy I would have approached it with when I would have been thinking about catching up, and the only way I could win is maybe stopping him or making sure I win every single next round, that not leaving no arguments out there. So I understand that the accountability should have been on the referee and on the New York State Athletic Commission to, make whatever they had to make to take that accountability and take what came with that. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you, why does Tank's people allow him to do those shenanigans in the ring? Like that one time he sat up there and watched the fight, and outside the ring, the people that were visiting, they was out there fighting, and he stopped just to, the stuff that he does. Yeah. But what kind? I mean, how do they allow this? I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. And I used to, like I said, I'm older, and we used to go to Jersey, and watch what's his name, Larry Holmes spar my family, and things like that. And it just, they were professionals. Those the boxers, they were professionals. That was their life. And even when they do their stare downs, you coming out there with glasses, you're supposed to be looking them in the eye. Just certain things they do is just so different.
Yeah, I think that attests to what Clay was just saying. That's just his privilege.
That's a privilege he operates in, man. And that's that. Yeah. And I was saying something earlier about him being a special fighter. And, I know people want to, there's people who obviously have issues with fighters. And, obviously there are people who have issues with Tank, and they want to make it to where, don't make excuses for him. But it's not that I'm making excuses. I'm just being honest to say that at some point in time, Gervonta Tank Davis was recognized by his team. You may not see it in him, but his team, Calvin, the people around him, Kenny, understood this kid was going to be a special kid when it came to his boxing space, that he could generate money, that he could generate the fan base, that he could control it, especially with Floyd Mayweather next to him. Once that happened, it was like, this kid is, Leonard Ellaby, they treated him a certain way. And when you're operating in privilege, you don't even know, like I tell people all the time, if I was to win the lottery right now, bro, I would give myself about 6 months to a year before people would be telling me that I changed. They would. They'd be like, damn, bro, you don't eat this now all of a sudden. Now you don't do this. You don't go to these places. You don't move like this no more. And I'm like, you right, bro. I'm rich now.
Yep, you own a whole goat and a whole lamb, a real live one. What you doing, dude?
I'm driving a different car. I'm living in a different neighborhood. I'm looking at people around me differently because I know I'm what I mean? It just is what it is. You start to operate in your privilege. You do. You start to operate. Hopefully it doesn't go to your head and you don't disrespect nobody and you don't belittle nobody and you don't move like that, but you're definitely going to operate in a different way than you did beforehand. And I think Tank just doesn't even think about it. I think he's
respectful. I think he's respectful. I love him. I love his smile. I think, I really do like him. I just think that, like I said, from his past or whatever it is, just that maturity. And I love watching him box. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's my favorite boxer, but I love him. I enjoy him. Enjoy watching him box, Yeah. But there's some things that he needs to work on. And if they can't see it, then they'll never see it.
You know what my issue with Tank is, and that people don't realize, they quick to say you hate him. My issue with Tank is his fan base, right? His fan base is just so rabid and so delusional. Yeah, you can't hold them accountable for nothing, and it just yeah, you just can't. Yeah. You get to the point where, like myself and Keon, right? My inbox people told my man, I hope you hit a tree and die, and bro, you that emotional.
You see some of the stuff these people be saying to me. You just gotta laugh at it sometimes.
I haven't gotten it like that yet, but I can imagine.
Blue, I never heard you. I never heard you say it from that perspective. I'm glad that I heard you say that though, because they so quick to ask that question. But they so, and I swear to God, the ones that ask that question be so quick to hate on Bud and be like, "Oh, I don't hate on Bud. It's his fans." But you guys gonna sit here and tell me Blue hate on Tank? But get the hell out of here! Oh my God!
All because I want to hold them accountable.
But these people take it so personal. They take it like, and we half of these people we don't know, and it's crazy that they said. I'm just bugging when you said what they put in your inbox, man. I'm sorry about that. That's crazy.
Man, I know. It's wild. So, and here's the thing, right? The contradictions, they just keep rolling. So then myself, Clay, Keon, you know what I'm saying? We gonna point it out because you fueling the fire. You know what I'm saying? You the one that keep telling us we lying or we hating. So now we got to keep pointing out the obvious. And now you're getting more and more mad. Like right now, his team, Calvin and Kenny, Leonard Ellaby, they told you till you was blue in the face. He's a 130-pounder. The moment Devin Haney beat Regis Prograis and the world demanded it, and Devin and Bill and Turkey reached out to him to make the fight. Oh, he can't make 25. Devin balloon up 25 pounds. Devin Haney is a middleweight. Devin Haney is this. He can't go to 140. He said he ain't comfortable. Now he getting ready to fight a heavyweight.
Who is Devin Haney?
Tank.
Oh, Tank. Oh, yeah. I understand. How can you put? You talking about the what's his name, the white kid? Sorry, I didn't say that.
So now think about this. Look how bizarre this sounds. So now you couldn't fight Devin Haney 5 pounds and off, but you gonna fight Jake Paul, who fights at cruiserweight, heavyweight, and at the very least light heavyweight.
He was gonna make more. He'll make more money off the fight with Devin because people want to see that fight. They want to see how Devin has changed, you know. And
Jake, I ain't gonna hold you.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
Am I wrong with that?
No. Yeah, he's gonna get more money with Jake Paul for sure.
Paul's the name.
Yeah,
because Paul got he got the public eye.
Well, but why would you put Jake Paul as big as he is and Tank, which he probably comes to his chest? I mean,
not even. Tank is 5 foot.
Think it's going to be on record.
5'5", 5'6". Tank is right.
Okay,
he said he's 5'4". Jake Paul is like 6'1".
Right.
His last fight, he was 224 when he weighed in. Prior to that, he was fighting at 200 pounds, 175. So Jake Paul gonna come in? And again, I understand and I get the bag is going to be there. I'm not knocking that. It could be generational wealth, right? No problem. I'm not knocking it. But for years before Jake Paul became anybody in the sport, you told us that you could not go above 135.
So him and Devin, do you don't think they will ever fight? And
no.
What about the turkey? The turkey Ashish, whatever the turkey.
They not smoke with Turkey. They're not going to even let Turkey fight. They won't even.
And he said he don't trust fighting with Turkey because Turkey said Devin is my guy. So it's these contradictions. Now get this right, Queen. We know that Tank. How far up in weight he ain't gonna fight at 135 against Jake Paul, right? Even if it's an exhibition. Right. He don't want to lose and get embarrassed. Like nephew G tatted up said, he don't think it's going to be on record. Jake Paul going to want it on record. You best believe that.
Oh, yeah.
Just like he made sure Mike Tyson fight was on record.
Absolutely right, huh?
Do you guys think Jake Paul is a good fighter? I think he's sloppy and just...
He's a novice.
He's not a good fighter.
Jake Paul is a novice, right?
I think he's okay for where he's at, for how long he's been boxing. He didn't have no amateur career.
No.
You know, he's good for where he started boxing at.
Right, exactly.
But is he a boxer? Does he love the sport of boxing? Is he a boxer like these people like Roach and the kid from
he don't have the amateur pedigree that they have. He didn't start when they started, but like
I mean I know that part, but I'm talking about the love. You know what I'm saying, Clay?
Yeah, he has to have the love because this dude is really fighting. Like he's really committed and he's filthy rich already.
But but that's the money he made off of like YouTube and stuff like that and all those things. Yeah.
But
He got more
this thing,
money. He got more money than most of these fighters do. But then, shit, probably all of them besides Tyson Fury and maybe Canelo.
Yeah, I think he might.
I don't
He
like
knocking
Tyson
on
Fury.
there though.
Yeah, he knocking.
Yeah, he probably got more money than. Yeah, he probably got more money than them.
Yeah,
he really
and so to risk your life, because the fact remains, yeah, he fighting Anderson Silva or Tyron Woodley. These dudes is combat athletes.
He ain't got. Do he got like Floyd type money?
No, I don't think he got billions. But
why you let Floyd go in there and buy that whole block up?
Oh man,
Where were you and Clay when that was going on?
They said Floyd lied about that.
I believe
that's what I don't like, Blue. I don't like anytime a black man got a whole lot of money like that and doing things like Floyd is doing. They want to come and try to knock it down and say he's lying again. I hate that, man. And it be our own people that do that.
I was thinking the same thing, right, Keith? Because I'm like, who actually looked? Who was the person that looked into that?
Exactly.
That's like, why did you do that?
Diabolical. That's what it gets diabolical. Like, why are you doing that? Why did you look into it like that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to defend the man, but at the same time, what was that all about? Why was that news? Why was that? Who did the research, followed up, looked into it, all that, just to expose him, man? The hate is diabolical.
So they actually tracked down.
And like Keon said, more than likely, it's somebody who looks like him.
Exactly.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Exactly, Queen. Like Clay. And the thing is, they said that they tracked down the actual owner of the building, and bro didn't even want to be involved. Like he just was like, bro, they still like he didn't even want to answer the questions. So you had to like, who does that? Like if somebody else, like he said, if it was a no disrespect to people, but if it was a white man, right, that did this, you know what I'm saying? That
said a word.
Yeah, nobody wouldn't even investigate. You would just be like, oh, they did it. They bought it.
I mean, you know already the conditioning, man.
Imagine if Canelo did it with nobody questioned that shit.
Right.
Nobody questioned it. Yeah.
100%. I felt so bad because he was so proud and so, you know what I'm saying? And then within whatever, you know, people are making him look crazy and stuff like that. Yeah.
And the thing is, right? Has anybody thought? He
probably has it. The way the paperwork is filed and the way, you know, under whatever business or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You know how things are. It's not going to be under his name per se as Floyd Mayweather. It's probably under some sort of escrow. You know what I mean? He's going to transfer it to protect himself from it being taken from him in lawsuits or things of that nature. So you're never going to really understand how the purchase was done and what it shows up at, or how
people were trying to say Trump. They were saying that he got the Trump. You know, he's in bed with Trump, and I just said.
But the thing is this,
you don't know that business, man. So why are you up into the point to where Jesus Christ? I'm trying to wipe this thing down. I'm hitting all kind of buttons. You're not. I mean, that's why I was hitting those buttons by accident.
I know. I was wondering what it was, but I wasn't saying
anything. I'm trying to wipe this thing off the board, and I'm like pushing the buttons. It's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, you don't know how his business is set up. So why are you in it? You don't know how it's set up. You know, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Well, what about him? Who's supposed to be fighting again?
I don't know. Members his team. Yeah, remember his team hit me up and they said that he was seriously considering it. But again, like, you know what I'm saying? It's some things is just absolutely unnecessary. And did anybody take into consideration that maybe he was lied to? Maybe he, you know, they told him, yo, we purchased and this is available. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's so many things that could go.
Word of what you do, like, because like I deal with a lot of guns and weapons, and it's like when you get to a certain point and you start getting like fully automatic weapons, or you start getting, you know, weapons customized and cut a certain way. I think it's a trust. That's the word. It's a trust.
A trust.
They start telling you to put those things inside of a trust. You know what I'm saying? Don't put it under your name to, you know what I'm saying? Because
if something were to happen, right?
Right. You know what I mean? You want to do that. So you don't know that Floyd is not doing something like that, right? That he's not part of a trust, that he's not part of an investment fund, that he's not part of some sort of hedge fund that owns all these properties. He might not exclusively own all these properties exclusively, right? He might be in bed with some sort of hedge fund or investment fund that owns all these properties. And when you're talking about billions of dollars in investments, it's not far-fetched that he's not solely, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Like if you own, like for instance, you own, say for instance, a mall or whatever. It's not just you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. Right. You have there was somebody who's invested.
And a very rich person by the name of Warren Buffett. I always like to follow his model. Warren Buffett said, "Why would I spend my money when I could spend another rich person's money?"
That's right. Let me use your money, you know what I'm saying, and keep my money safe.
Donald said that too. Donald Trump says it. I'm going to leverage my bread against your bread. I'm going to allow you. The bank is going to give me money to make them money off of what, you know what I'm saying, off the interest and everything like that.
Right.
I'm going to protect my money by not putting my money up. Worst case scenario, if I lose the bank's money, I'll claim bankruptcy.
Right. Or I'll make a payment arrangement, $5 a month. I'm paying something.
Or I'll just charge it off. I'll just claim bankruptcy and say I can't pay it back. You know what I mean? And, you know, when they talk about like Trump, for example, and they say all the businesses he's failed, he laughs at them. He's like, yeah, I've tried businesses and they failed, but I'll tell you what I didn't do. I ain't lose no money.
Right. I made my money up, but I let it fail. I snatched mine out, and I'm good. I'm even.
Wow, bro, bankrupt.
Yeah, and when people don't understand, when you're bankrupt, you don't owe anybody. People will give you credit. I remember I filed bankruptcy back in was it the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was so afraid. But once I done it, everybody was offering me everything. You know, it was like I had to use some self-control. It was like, no, no, because you don't have any debtors anymore. So I'm not get you with that. Yeah. I love you guys so much, man. I appreciate you guys. I learned so much from you guys. You're very special.
Appreciate you.
And Keon, and what's my BFF? What's my BFF that was yelling at me earlier? Where's he at?
That's ETB, yeah, Keon.
Yeah, that's Keon.
Oh, that's Keon. Keon, I love you so much.
Much love. Like I said, I heard the background. I heard a man, and I'm like, oh man,
no,
I'm gonna have to deal with a Tank fan.
You know, I was over here watching my house like that. I'm gonna make sure when you guys go live again. I'm so glad, Clay, that I was able to catch you live. I was so excited when I saw it. So I just really appreciate you guys, and you're it
was
very
good
smart.
talking with you.
Yeah, it's good talking with you guys, and keep so you're very smart, and and I just love you guys. I really do. I really do. And Clay, I made it through Ramadan.
Man, was it fun? It got good for me at the end. Like I'm still on the same diet plan, right? Like I'm not fasting, as far as like the liquids and everything like that, but I'm still like eating like once a day at this point. Like
my grandparents ate, they lived their life like Ramadan was every day, which we're supposed to. That's what that's what the goal is. Like you said, the liquid is something different. But my grandparents, my grandmother Amina Muhammad and my grandfather Ilyas Muhammad, they lived their life like that every day. But no, it was good. It was real good. It was real good. Put me in a better headspace. Most definitely. Yeah. But I love you guys. I gotta get ready to go to work for a few hours. And I appreciate you letting me be on. And I'm going to send you a couple more bucks. And I will look for you guys. Are you guys coming on tomorrow? I mean, today? Clay, you said 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I'll be on at 11. And then,
and then we'll be on at 6. Yeah.
And you guys will be on 6. Okay. Keon, where are you going to be?
You're gonna be around.
You might catch me on Clay's platform, but you subscribe to me, Everything Boxing.
Everything Boxing? No, okay.
Yep.
Okay, Everything Boxing. I will definitely do that. Lou and Clay, no, I definitely support. I can't do nothing else. I will support you guys.
Always supporting, Queen. Appreciate you.
I do. I appreciate you guys. And you guys have a good night. Clay, thank you.
Thank
you. Everything Boxing, right?
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. When you have your first giveaway, appreciate me then.
Hey, I can dig that.
Look, when I win, don't say nothing. Just be like, "Oh yeah, she had the right number."
That's a fact. So
And
you going to work right now, Queen?
yeah, I'm just going down there. I'm actually retired. There's a 7-Eleven down the block from me that my friends own, so I do the computer stuff and all the ordering because I take care of my mother. She's 87. Actually, she's 157,
Oh,
and
that's a blessing.
it is. But it's the hardest thing I've ever. I don't even ever had to do in my life. It is the hardest thing because it's just me and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
hard. It's really hard. So you guys pray for me.
No doubt.
You know, it's so funny, right? I just saw this thing somebody sent me. Actually, my wife sent it to me, and it says, because my wife teased me, I'm half a hundo, but so so she sent it, and it says, appreciate your parents because once they turn 50, they live 66% of their life already. Most people 50 plus only have 26 years left, and then they broke down the minutes, the hours, the days, so on and so forth. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I got more time behind me than you do in front of me.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I'm on the last quarter of my life. You know what I'm saying? I am. I'm 57. Don't look 57. You never know. I'm gonna let you guys see me tomorrow, but I am. I'm 57, and I'm appreciative because people these days are not making it. They're not making it. And
you're
like
right.
I said, I'm so proud of you guys. I really am. I am so proud of you guys. And, I really am. And I enjoy your channel. And, I'm sorry that those people, whoever they are, to be sending stuff to you guys, threats. That's crazy, man.
That's real out here. I haven't gotten hit in the inbox, but I've definitely, like I said, I've definitely been confronted with some.
Yeah, I heard somebody try to scream on you. I don't understand it. And Clay, out of the two of you, Clay's the one, you know what I'm saying? He's the humble Muslim, soft voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I laugh it off. I've learned to laugh it off because when you go to these fights, they don't keep that same energy. That's just all internet
they hide
shit.
behind the internet.
Yeah, it's just all internet stuff.
Yeah, they take that stuff personal. Like, do you think Tank cares about you? Do you think Shakur cares about you? Do you think Devin cares about you? But I can't wait to see Devin. I hope he gets it together. I really do. That kid.
I can't wait to see that fight because they talking spicy.
I think Devin's going to see. Devin's going to surprise him. You watch and see. Devin's going to really, really seriously. You watch. It's nothing but gold.
Yeah, I think Devin going. I'm picking him to win the rematch. I'm picking him to win the rematch. I mean, he's a much better. He's a much better all around boxer than Ryan Garcia. Much better than him. But hey, you can never underestimate the power, the speed that Ryan have.
Yeah,
and you just gonna have to be on point. You're gonna have to be on point for all 12 rounds.
Right.
And that hook. But he's one dimensional. Ryan's he's one dimensional because he rely on that hook, and a lot of times he over relies on that hook.
Yeah,
because he tried to do that with Tank, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what he did with Tank.
Yeah,
but I don't think that I know. I'm not even gonna say I think, and I've been saying this. He wasn't the same fighter in that Tank fight.
No,
he wasn't the same fighter. If you look at him versus Devin and you look at him versus Tank, it's night and day. He wasn't the same fighter.
Nowhere near.
He was much less in the Tank fight because when you depleted like he was, that's another thing about Tank. He's smart. He's going to get an advantage on you any way he can. And he knew when a fighter's depleted, you go to the body. They can't take body punches.
But wasn't Devin fighting around? He was when they fought. That was like Ramadan, right? Wasn't it, Clay?
When Devin fought,
when he
April, it was definitely Ramadan, and man,
that was Ramadan. April 20th?
Yeah, last year because I remember saying
but I don't think he did it. He didn't go through. He didn't do Ramadan.
Yeah, he didn't participate. He didn't participate in it.
Yeah, he didn't participate in it.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't participate in it.
Which I think I ain't gonna lie to you. I
don't think. I mean, Devin was in tip-top shape.
What did you say, Clay? Clay been looking tired. Keon?
He was in tip-top shape versus Ryan.
No, it's not that.
Keon, that old man. Keon, the old man, is tired. Okay. He is past his bedtime. You better call Big U, that dude Big U, and order some of his Pampers.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right, man. Big U gonna be all right, man. Where he at?
Big U.
Let me shout out this super chat right quick because I'm gonna forget. Joseph Johnson, man, I appreciate you, man. He said this is boxing talk. My family be quick to listen and slow to speak. Friendly debate, but never personal. All love. I try to keep it there. I hope it stays there, man. I don't know why I can't be there. It is what it is, man. Fight Sports Talk in the building as well. Show me, hey, fights. I think this is my first not American money super chat. Thank you. Fight Sports Talk.
What's it look like?
Fight Sports Talk is a real one.
Yeah. Salute to you, man. He says, wish I could have stayed longer. We'll try and make the show tomorrow. Salute to everyone, man. No doubt, man. We'll be looking forward to see you tomorrow as well, man. Thank you.
Oh, the non-American money. I was seeing it. What did it have up there? It had two. Yeah, I saw it in the corner.
Right. It's like NZ.
It's pounds. It's pounds and stuff, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, let me go before I don't have I don't have a job at the 7-Eleven. Do you guys know I don't even know how much I get paid an hour? That's how. Let me tell you something. I used to be a network engineer for Verizon, and I worked also over there at Sprint on Austin Street, right off in Forest Hills. Mm-hmm. And so when I started doing this at 7-Eleven, but can I tell you this? I love it. I love the people because I'm a people person, and I really do. I enjoy it. I have so much fun down there. I really do. But I'm being honest with you guys. I don't know how much I make. I could be making $3 an hour. I wouldn't know. that check is so little on Thursday. I forget that I get paid on Thursday.
You need to move to the town. Seattle guarantee you pay you 21.
Where do you live?
Seattle. Yeah,
that's where my cousin lives. Yeah, my cousin's in Seattle.
You work anything night shift, you get like 23.
Yeah, my cousin. Yeah, my cousin. She's
for sure.
Is that your minimum wage?
Our minimum wage is like $20 out here, $21 out here.
Oh, the minimum wage here is like in the DMV. I'm not in New York anymore. It's like freaking maybe I don't know, like $9 an hour or something like that.
Oh my god, I couldn't even imagine.
The minimum wage $9 an hour.
I'm out here in DC. I'm like 20 minutes from DC. I think DC's is more, but then
DC minimum wage is the second highest in the country.
Yeah, their minimum wage is they're really high, but and like Arlington, like where I'm at, it's I think
how much is DC's? How much is DC's minimum wage?
DC
like 16. 19, 19. Yeah, it's a lot.
Dang.
It's a lot because New York's minimum wage.
McDonald's get paid $19 an hour out here.
Damn.
What part of DC are you in? My daughter just moved to Northeast.
I remember when McDonald's was $4.25 an hour.
Do you remember $3.75?
Oh no.
I remember I worked at Jones Beach. It was $3.75.
But yeah, $3.75. Yeah, $3.75 an hour. Yeah.
You right, Clay. My sister worked at McDonald's. It was like $4 and something an hour.
Yeah, that's wild. $20 is crazy.
Never go out of here about McDonald's.
You get chicken
$20 an hour, bro. Not even a manager, bro. I thought it would get.
Sir, can you give me something for Eddie Leonard's?
Oh, bro, if you're a manager in Seattle,
you can live a whole life. I'm telling you right now,
if you're a manager, anything you do that's manager is 28 and up.
If the minimum wage high, guess what? The cost of living is even high.
Well, can you go give me something from Eddie Leonard's over there?
Like
I'm telling you right now, anything manager is 28 and up. Hey, put it this way: I was running my own. Like I didn't own the company, of course, but I was doing a catering service, and I was getting $30 an hour just to take deliveries out. And I was getting $50 to $100 tips just by getting these deliveries ready from the restaurant and then taking them out. Literally,
it's $30 an hour. My kids, let me tell you something. But what they pay these kids, my son that lives over there in Brooklyn, he works for Meta. And do you know this younger generation? Average for them is 150,000. Seriously, in that type of world, like. Let me just say this: when we go for them, my daughter, she makes 200 and some odd thousand a year. I'm telling you, if it's under my daughter-in-law, she's from the Bronx. She does the same work, and they have their bachelors, but they're not even working in their field, and it's totally different from when we were working. Totally different world. When I was making
100,000, hey. One bedroom out here.
Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Puerto Rican. Yeah,
I knew it. I
Yeah,
knew it.
my
Yeah.
daughter-in-law.
I
Yeah,
tell you this right now, though, a one bedroom out here is no less than 15.
One bedroom, huh?
that's
Yeah, that's
no
New
less
York.
than.
That's New York numbers.
That's
No,
Seattle for you too.
Nah,
New
it's only
York is more
150.
than that for a one bedroom. You
Yeah.
crazy? New York is like, well, the new New York. I know Brooklyn. They're like $3,000. Three, you
Yeah,
know.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't bedroom in that high out here.
But you
yeah,
know, no, my
yeah.
son
That's
was
the
living right over there.
studio. The
My
studio is
son
like
was living in. I was
1,800.
to this guy
One
right here. My
bedroom
son.
out here,
My
like
son lives in
Yeah,
Southeast. Right.
studio run you 13. A nice one, but don't get it twisted. Like if you want to be up in like Bellevue area or the rich area, guarantee the studio can run you too.
Let me tell you
Oh,
something. My
see,
son was
that's
living over
good.
top of.
Two still ain't bad, bro. I'm trying to tell you, like, I thought it'd be more expensive out there. I might have to go out there, bro, and go get me a job in Seattle, bro. Like, y'all
Word. You
But
making $21 an hour at McDonald's?
Bro, that's
I can
light. That's
imagine what
light. That's
everything
light.
else is
That's
doing.
light.
You know what I
hey,
mean?
what's your name from DC? My son was living over top of the Nat Stadium. You know, right over there, Second Street,
Southwest.
Southeast, right
That's
off the South
Southwest.
Capitol.
You said, yeah, one side Southwest, one side
It's not
Southeast.
so no, I know. I'm talking about the Southeast side, not where the 7-Eleven, they tore that
Yeah,
down, the Domino's over there with the Navy Yard.
yeah.
And those apartments right there. And my son, let me tell you
They
something.
high right there though. They call the
Yeah,
stadium right there. Street
those
stadium right
apartments are
there.
smaller than Queensbridge. You hear me?
They got the
What?
soccer stadium there. The
If you're
D.
overweight, and it's let me tell you, if you're
They said if
overweight,
you overweight.
yeah, you have to get special accommodations. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's all
Wow.
it got.
crazy.
Talking
Yeah,
like
that's
300 square
wild.
feet, right? Like 300, 400 square feet type of situation. 500 square feet.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yo, you lucky if you get that. I mean, or like I was living in Palmanac, and I remember, I was thinking, God, this is a little bit more spacious than Queensbridge. Let me tell you something. Their apartments are smaller than that. I'm serious. They're just long, but there's no width. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
That's like the brownstones in Brooklyn.
yeah.
They
They
rebuilt
go-
that whole area though. That area wasn't like that. Like that area now is like a tourist attraction.
Oh
But
yeah, it's totally different.
when I was coming up, like that's where Wayne Prairie from. Wayne Prairie from down where you from. He from down there. But
Oh,
they
Oh,
word.
rebuilt
Yeah, but
what?
you definitely
Wayne
you pay
Prairie.
that. If you like, if Clay said you trying to come up here and you think you spending two or something like that, you definitely gonna be around some rub elbows with some good people. I tell you, my last job, I was I kid you not, at the gym. I was working at the Planet Fitness. Warren Moon was one of my everyday members.
Wow.
You know that's for my son. See, I would never go there because he did some mess around with my daughter-in-law in freaking Seattle. So I wouldn't even ever go there. I'm just starting to think about it now.
Hey
What
Clay.
what do the nurses and stuff make in Seattle?
Oh my god! Oh my
They
god!
probably
Oh
making
my
like
god!
Probably
$70
stupid
an hour.
money.
Oh, you're paid. You're getting good. I don't really know off the top of my head, but I wouldn't put it less than 32, somewhere around
No,
there.
wait,
No,
$32 an hour.
no,
You're
no,
getting
no.
way
Listen,
more.
no, but I used to be
Or more,
let me.
or like I tell you what. And the thing about it is because UW, I don't know how other states is, but I know UW. They have a really good program. Their college is right across the street from the hospital. I was born in UW. You know what I mean?
Probably it's a
So
tertiary, but nurses.
they always have like their college kids coming up and doing courses. So like the medical industry out here is super huge in Seattle. It's huge. That's why Seattle's, if you really know, they're the best at taking care of gunshot wounds. You know, when you get shot, they're number one in the country. Harborview, we have.
I went to the Needlepoint. I flew my kids out there. We just went for the weekend. That Needlepoint.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm coming to Seattle. I'm coming to kick it with you.
Yo,
But yeah,
Seattle's
but
different.
nurses,
No,
who's
I
a nurse?
promise you, a nurse
Is your
is getting
wife a
like
nurse?
$50 an hour, bro.
No,
50
I was a nurse.
You know, I used to be a respiratory
my
therapist.
girl's a mobile phlebotomist, right? She goes
a
around.
flea.
She do mobile phlebotomy, and she gets paid what 26 an hour right now.
You know, do you know what I was thinking about? I wanted to do. You know how they have the fleas they do the blood work for the boxers, and they, always afraid when the situation like with Ryan and what's his name? You gotta excuse me, guys. You know I'm smoking too. I apologize, please. But so I apologize. I have to for my nerves. I'm serious. But when the blood, so somebody comes and picks up the blood, right? The blood is drawn right there at where is it? Where they're gonna be boxing at? Where do they actually go and draw the fighter's blood?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. His girl do it. Is she
No, she's a
Fubali?
flea, but I'm just saying the way it works with boxing, like when Devin and them fought, they were saying
You're talking about the Nevada. I mean,
USADA?
the USADA.
Okay. So what do they do? Do they go to the arena? Where do they go to actually draw the fighter's blood?
Wherever the fight is at.
Okay, and so for
it depends on though what test they doing though, because sometimes they wait. Go ahead.
But from there they take it to this transported to the lab, right? That's the process, right? I was thinking, if somebody could come up with something where you have on-site fleet and you have a mobile laboratory, that way, and wherever the actual specimen goes, you're able to actually have that app where you can always look at where your specimen is, if anybody's touched it or anything like that.
To see it, what route it's in.
Yeah, but also you always have eyes on it, and even when it's in the lab, so that way there's no issue. And then when it's time to actually,
that's kind of dope.
Yeah, but no, seriously, I was going to ask you guys about that. You guys, I'm serious. I said something to my daughter about it.
About that off air. Somebody gonna steal it.
Man,
would you? Well, seriously, I was very serious about it. I'm just not a good entrepreneur. And I used to be a respiratory therapist, and I love anything that has to do with medicine. I love it. I don't do it anymore. I have a tumor in my spine, so I had lost my ability to walk. But I'm walking now. They told me I would never walk again, but I have. And so I can't do the respiratory therapy anymore because you have to run to the codes. But salute to you for being a nurse. I bet you were the best nurse. I bet you them patients loved you. I bet you those old ladies was flashing you and everything else. I can really imagine.
Hey, I went from and then I was a surgical tech.
See, that's what I like. See, that's what I want to learn. That's a hot job. You have to be on point. You have to know what tools to hand. I would love that.
Yeah, it's that I did the trauma calls from 10 at night to 10 in the morning.
See, I used to do that. I used to do the telemetry. And my aunt, she used to run the Mary Immaculate. She used to run the what do you call it? The what's the stuff that they give to people who are on drugs? Methadone. She used to run the methadone clinic at Mary Immaculate. And
to wean them off.
Yeah, to wean them off. But that's the best. That is the best thing. Clay, what do you do?
I'm a truck driver.
My son, the one that played in the NFL, he played for the Raiders and the Jets. He started a trucking company during COVID. First time he had the box trucks, and then he now has, and he actually just got out of it. He's in the fire academy, but he has his own company, and then he started. He bought 2 dualies and started doing hot shots.
Like auto shipping?
Huh?
Like moving cars?
No, hot shots. He has the big trailer, and he has a CDL, but he has a big trailer. He bought 2 dualies, a Chevy and a Ford, and he attaches the trailer to it. No, he travels all over the United States. Yeah, he just stopped because for him you're putting more into it. The gas, things like that. And before, he tried with the employees, but he's definitely, like I said, he's the type of person that anything that he touches, he's going to do. When he played in the NFL, he went to a real small school that hadn't won a college game since the 80s. And he worked really hard. But no, that's the truck driver. You drive in-state?
Yeah, I'm a local. I work the rail yard.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let this man go to sleep because I'll talk to him all night long. I love you guys. Assalamu alaikum. That's my baby. And you guys are my brothers. I lost my brother in 2016. You guys are my brothers. Keon, he's my kid.
We family. That's a good thing.
Yeah, Keon's my kid. He's young enough to be my kid. But I love you guys and have a good night. I will see you at 11, Clay, and then I'll see you guys at 6.
Blessings, Queen.
Okay. All right. Good night. Oh, and the guy from Seattle, I love you too, sweetie. And the one from DC, I'm sorry. I didn't know your names. I apologize.
Dub and Band Up. I got to put that up.
Okay. Bye-bye.
No doubt.
Hey, I don't know if you touched on it, Clay. Have you touched on the Boots fight?
No, that's actually what tomorrow's going to be all about. Tomorrow's going to be all about Boots Stanley, or later today is going to be all about Boots Stanionis. It's going to be about the undercard. I want to talk about Ray Ford and what he's doing. I mean, Zaquin Moses is going to be on the card as well. Amari
Ray
Jones
Ford called out Bruce Carrington too.
I know they stay beefing, man. I don't know why they just got smoked, man. They just got smoked. It's personal, but they ain't fighting each other, bro. Bruce is gonna stay right there at 126 and try to, knock down them champions down there, and and Raymond's gonna do what he does at 130, bro. But he don't like Bruce for sure. He don't like him, bro.
Yeah, he don't like him at all.
Nah, it's been a while. They've been cooking on each other for, I'd say, like the last 8 months. I think it was a Shakur situation. Am I bugging, or was it the Shakur situation when Bruce commented on Shakur? And I think that's where Raymond Ford kind of jumped into it and kind of got into it. I don't know if
Shakur went on him though. Shakur went
on Bruce, right?
Yeah, he went on Shushu. Shushu wasn't even. He started with Shushu, like.
No, but Shushu commented in an interview, basically, right? Like they asked him something about
him and
Tank, right? Right.
Yeah,
He basically just shared his
disrespectful though.
Nah, he didn't. He didn't. Yeah,
he said he get an edge to Tank because of the power.
And Shakur was like, "This nigga older than me." Yeah, he was like, "He older than me."
He's smart. You try to duck that rack. You stand down with the little guys. He's like,
he said this nigga older than me and still a prospect. Remember?
Yo, he got in on him. He went in on him. And Shushu humble too, man. I like Shushu, man.
Because Shushu was like, "Yo, I don't know where that came from."
Yeah, like, bro, what you guys smoke with me for? But they supposedly squashed it, like they talk to each other, and they supposed to be good now. But Raymond carrying it, he don't care.
Yeah, he disrespect the best out of him though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he called that man outside his name and everything.
Yeah, he called him a bitch. He said,
yeah,
it was crazy, bro.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I'm a fan of Raymond Ford too, man. I ain't gonna hold you, man. That's their personal beef, man. I like Raymond, man. I ain't gonna lie.
I like Raymond
Bruce.
too.
I like Bruce too, man. We got the same birthday. You know what I mean? I rock with Bruce, man, but I ain't getting the middle of that, bro. I rock with Raymond, so I hope y'all figure that out.
Hey, Clay, you see my jump?
Huh?
The office I just bought.
What?
The office I just got, man.
Oh yeah, you in it right now. You in it right now. Yeah, I saw that. I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
That's dope.
I drove out here to do some paperwork and stuff.
I appreciate you, Love My Kids, for the love. Thanks for the support tonight. Love My Kids. She really supported me. I don't know how much she put me. She went through a whole 50 in there at this point or more. Good night to all of you and your amazing chat. Love.
It light up. The dub, it light up.
Nah, this is the regular little sign.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I everything else in the jump light up though. You see,
what was the ultimate story on this Keyshawn Davis and De Los Santos fight? On what held it up, where it's at now, and what brought it full circle?
They had to pay that bread. They got it. Carbon Ready exposed it.
Right, because I know it was like $400 to $500, right, that they had on the table.
Remember, he tried to lie. Remember when we was on yesterday?
Right.
Edwin didn't know and told him it was $200,000, and Carmen Reddy came out and was like, "Nah, we offered you 400 plus."
Right.
And then Edwin was like, Edwin said, "You see, I ain't even know that."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Letting you know, like they trying to get over on me. You see how this works? And now they had to, you know what I'm saying? Now he like, "Yo, I want to fight." That's why I did the video on earlier. Everyone was like, he was responding to people like, "Yo, if that's the case, I want this fight."
Right. 100%.
Hey, you see the light move when y'all talk? Look, say something.
Yeah, that's dope.
Mic check. Yeah, it go with it reading the sound. It's reading the sound and bumping with the sound.
You know what I'm saying? So now you gotta pay that bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now what he did was he exposed the business of boxing, right? They was gonna rob him 175,000 plus.
That's what I was saying earlier. I'm like, thank God for social media and these platforms and the ability to communicate. You know what I'm saying? When things like this happen, if he didn't have the ability to communicate and be like, "Nah, man, you know what I mean? You only offer me 200,000," and for Carl Moretti to be like, whoa, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Kind of similar to the Brian Norman Boots thing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just, the ability to hear what the rumors are and be able to address it. But that's a Samson thing, right? You playing games, and once again, that's why I named the thumbnail
Blue.
"Need to Know Basis," right? How many of these fighters?
I can't click on pause or something.
How many of these fighters are losing out on opportunities because of backdoor things going on between promoters and what I mean? And we don't know what's going on between. And I'm telling you, I'll say it straight up. I question Mauricio Suleiman and Samson Leakowitz's relationship when it comes to that David Benavidez situation. I question as to why Samson Leakowitz didn't activate that mandatory. You know what I'm saying? And put Canelo's WBC title in the same situation that they put Dimitri Bivol's WBC title in. Why didn't you file the paperwork? Even if Mauricio Suleiman wasn't going to activate the mandatory, why didn't you put in for it? Why didn't it happen? Why didn't you say, yo, bro, I want to activate this mandatory? You let that man sit there in that division for 3 years, bro, not being able to get nothing, and then you get up to 168 pounds and put the pressure on Dimitri Bivol less than 3 months after this man done won that belt, bro. Stop playing, man.
Less than 2 months.
Yeah, less than 2 months, right? It's been what? It was
they fought February 22nd.
22nd. Yep.
Did you? Yeah. I see the interview with the manager, with Bivol manager. Did. His manager did an interview. I think it's with Fight Hype.
Yeah, he went in. The lawyer went in on Mauricio.
The manager said though, he was like, he said he really don't blame Benavidez. He said because he said that he said he don't got Benavidez. Benavidez wasn't gonna get the fight. Basically, he's saying unless he move up. He said that that Bivol wants to move up to cruiserweight. He said the only person that Bivol want to fight at light heavyweight, and that's just giving respect, is Better Beef.
Oh, Better Beef. Okay.
But he said that the thing about that was Turkey Al Sheik was trying to push the third fight for July, put on for July. He said that they just had back-to-back fights and they ain't had no rest time. He said they not fighting nobody till at least October.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the dude that was interviewing him, he asked the manager, he said, well, who do you want Bivol to fight? He said, I'm not even gonna lie. He said, I want him to fight Canelo. He said, I want him to go down to 168 after Canelo fight Bud, and I want him to fight Canelo. He said that way he'll be 2-time undisputed.
Yeah, two division.
Yeah, two division, 2-time. I mean, 2-time undisputed, division undisputed.
Yeah.
But he like Bivol really, he want, for some reason, he said he got his head, he wants to go to cruiserweight. He said he been saying that since when they planned the first fight with Better Beef. He was saying that if he win, he wants to go up to cruiserweight.
And it's so crazy about that, because Beterbiev said the same thing, and so did Benavidez, right? But bro, they acting like cruiserweight is 6 pounds north. That's just 25 pounds north.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. I think they feel like, I think that all three of them feel like they could beat Zero. Right?
Yeah.
They really not talking about Opataya.
Yeah, that's what he said he want to fight Zoro.
Yeah, they all focus on Zoro because they like, this dude is a lick. You know what I'm saying? Right. But bro, that's a big weight jump, bro.
But see, it's what everybody look at cruiserweight. Cruiserweight, that's the max is 200. Anything over 175. So 180, between 180 and 200 is cruiserweight.
Right.
It's not just 200. 200 is the max.
Yeah.
Right. You don't got to go all the way up to 200. You can just
you don't have to go to 200.
Yeah.
Anything over 170. If you over 175, you're a cruiserweight.
Yeah, but I thought because I thought they have a limit. Like, you can't be below a certain weight though.
I used to think the same thing, that it was 200 pounds. But even if you look it up, like if you look at the rankings, right, and you know how you had the weight classes, when you look at cruiserweight, it says over 175 to 200.
Yeah. But I think that the commissions, like the state commissions, won't allow you to come in. Like, you can't be like 176 and fight a 200 pounder.
I don't know. I know that I was looking at one of what's the dude
I'm
over
I'm
ten,
gonna
John
look
over
into
ten,
that. Yeah,
John over
Opatai.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fought a dude. Not I don't know if it was his last fight or the fight before last. He came in there like 195. The dude came in like 180 something, like
Really?
183 to 184 some shit. Like he had him like 10 pounds or something.
It's like that division is
That's
it's like a dead division.
yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's hard. It's hard to make it happen. I think David's gonna go up to I'm interested. I'm gonna sit back and watch. I want to see these fights that they're gonna be putting together. Well, what do y'all think about this whole entire $8 million offer and Dmitry Bivol getting 2.7 to fight against Artur Beterbiev?
They said that was fake. They said that the reason why they said that. All right. They said a lot of people. They said that. Now I'm gonna tell you something that Turkey is doing good, right? That's good for the fighters. And I'm gonna break something down too, because I was listening to one of your. Me and Clay already had this talk, but Blue, I was listening to one of your what's the names, one of your shows, and he was arguing with the dude about. He was saying that Turkey be losing money when they be giving these fighters all this money, right? And I was explaining to Clay how so Riyadh season don't look so. First, I'm gonna go to the Bivol thing about the 2.7 million. So they said that I forgot however they do it in America is different from Saudi when they do the income, when they do as far as the purses and what they making. So they saying when they going over there, the sanctioning bodies have no way of finding out how much money they really getting paid, right? So all they going by is what they saying. So what they reporting to the sanctioning bodies, they said they get more money than that. They said, but the sanctioning bodies get a third of what you make, right? 3%, not third, my fault. 3% of what you're making.
Right.
So they said they going over there. They said that's why the WBC did that. They said the WBC did that because they wanted American champion. Somebody's gonna fight over America, so they can get
So they can
their
get that
money.
bread.
You know what I'm saying? He said that with Bivol, and they fighting over there. They said that they think that they working them like they getting more money, but there's no way that they're finding out the actual amount of money that they're getting. So that's
All right.
why.
So they putting the base number because you know what? It's funny you say that, right, Dub? Because I think now that makes sense, Dub. Because now think just food for thought for y'all real quick. Now that you said that, right, Dub? Remember Shakur came out and he was like, I got the most money I ever got in my career. Right?
I remember when he said that. You talking about when he was talking to he was doing that Ring magazine after you talking about his recent fight that he just did.
Right.
And he said for the fight Josh Padley, I just got the most money I ever got in my career. Now they trying to push it out there and say he only made like $2.3 million.
Yeah, they trying to knock it down, but initially it said 3.5.
Right.
So when he said that, I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Pardon my language, because I'm like, you was getting that pretty much that baseline with Top Rank. But now what Dub say makes sense, right? Like he kind of let the cat out the bag.
Yeah, he's claiming he's putting up the money out there that he's taking into consideration that 3% that he has to pay the WBC. So he's putting out this amount based on, okay, I'm going to cut you out this check, but the reality is he's just declaring that amount. It's probably way more.
Right. So when he said that, it kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't catching until Dub just said it right now. It just dawned on me right now when Dub said what he said. When Shakur said that, it's like, maybe that's why Turkey like, bruh, you talking too much.
Eddie Hearn spoke on it. Eddie Hearn definitely spoke on it today, and he dealt with the whole Turkey. He even put perspective and context on what's going on with the whole entire Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, Turkey love triangle situation, right? That basically the fight came with contingencies. The offer came with contingencies. That Turkey's offer was based on Shakur fighting William Zepeda in Riyadh. You know what I'm saying? In Saudi Arabia. And that because they're pushing for the fight to happen in the States, that Oscar's pushing for the fight to happen in the States, and that's where they, Shakur's just like, wherever the fight happens, I'm good with it. He just want to get his money. Well, Turkey was like, nah, bro, if you're gonna fight in the States, I'll still hold you down, but I'm not paying you the same money I was gonna pay you to fight in Saudi Arabia.
Because now it's like what Dub just said. Because now I can't pay you what you know what I'm saying. You letting the cat out the bag. You know what I'm saying.
See, now I'm gonna tell you the reason why that. The reason why that, right? Me and you spoke about that, Clay. The reason why Turkey's not gonna pay them the same amount over here as he had paid them in Saudi Arabia, because when they fight in United States, he really do lose money. But when they fight over there, they don't lose money. And I told you about that, Clay. One day I was just, I seen all the little everybody arguing about, what I'm saying, Turkey out of Sheik and saying how he losing all his money. And I'm thinking, like, I always was one of them dudes that when, what I'm saying, if I don't know something, I want to learn. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it don't sound right. Why is he gonna give Canelo 70 million, Bud 50 million, and he's losing all his money? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I went and looked up all that stuff, right? First off, Turkey Al Sheikh is nothing but a councilman. He's nothing but a board member, right? The dude that runs all that over there, you can look at him. I think his name. I told Clay the name. I forgot his name. He's worth
I know you talking about.
$33 billion. He worth $33 billion. Turkey Al Sheikh only worth $2 billion, right? Turkey Al Sheikh is a councilman on. It's called GAD, Global Entertainment something, right? That's the name of the whole thing, right? Riyadh season is named after the capital of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh season was built because they was having a lot of terrorist attacks, right? Or terrorist threats. So a lot of people stopped visiting the city of Riyadh, right? So they came up with a way of generating money. They wanted to generate money back into their city. And how they do that is by bringing tourists back into their city. So they first started with soccer. Soccer didn't pan out. So then they did a concert, right? They were gonna bring they can do music or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they did a concert. The first concert they did was with the dude Pitbull. The reggaeton. I don't know what he do.
Yeah, the Latin singer.
Okay, he came over there. They had 700,000 people attend. 700,000. Boom. So now Turkey and the other guy, they say in a way of, you know what I'm saying? They say, okay, a lot of people love boxing, Boxing will generate a lot of money back into the city if we get people to come over here, some of the top fighters, to come over here and fight, because Turkey was a big boxing fan. So he brought that idea to the board. Boom. They tried it out. They tried it out a couple times. It started working. So what they did was, since they've been having fights over there, right? Sales in a city, sales like everything, like hot dogs, all that stuff has been up 270%, right?
Damn.
Tourists coming over there to visit has been up 106%, right? The money is coming back through everything else. It's not coming back through boxing. It's coming back when everybody come over there to see these fights. Guess what? They going to these amusement parks. They buying these hot dogs, these shirts, so they getting the money back through the city, getting the money generating back through the city or whatever. And they getting tourists to constantly visit now. So that tourist hotel sales has went up like 100-something%. Hotels has went up 100-something%. Sales has went up 270%. Tourists like visiting has been up 107%. So all that stuff has went up since they've been doing the boxing thing. So the money has been coming, it's been generating back through the city. It's just not, he's not getting it from boxing. And everybody else is looking like, oh, this fight ain't doing this, but look at all the people now that's coming over there and visit. When they coming back and they telling all these people about the city, and now they going over there and visit. So they making money. They just ain't making money through just boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the whole point. The whole point was to there was awareness on terrorism. You know what I'm saying? They was trying to do the awareness on terrorism. They was trying to, bring money back, because the city, when they was having all them terrorist threats, the money had went down in the city like 33% or 22%, something like that. So now it's way up.
It makes sense, bro. But yeah, I'm about to get out of here, man. I'm tired.
I'm about to lay down. I gotta get up soon. I gotta make sure I get me at least 6.5, 7, man, or I'm useless. So
yeah.
I'm gonna holler, man. I appreciate you guys showing up and hanging out on the panel tonight, man. Shout out Blue and thank you for coming through, Band Dub. Dub. Shout out to Love
Claymore,
My
send your boy
Kids.
Band Up a wrench.
Say it again.
Send your boy Band Up a wrench.
Oh yeah, I'll get that together. You got to say something here though. I got to find you. Hold on.
Yeah, just put a message in the chat.
I got you.
Put a message in the chat so I ain't gotta look for you. But thanks to Love My Kids for the support tonight. Fight Sports Talk showed love tonight. Retro, shout out to Blood Boxing came by and showed support
Blood
tonight.
came through?
Yeah, Blood came through. I mean, he came through. He put some money in the he put some color in the chat. You know what I'm saying? And he always he comes through randomly and just drops some love in there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Boxing, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having the ETB. Keon came through. G tatted. You know, I'm delirious. I'm tired, so I can't remember everybody's name. But thank you, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Until next one, I'll see y'all at 11 in the morning. And then also, obviously at 6 in the evening with my brother Blue will be hosting.
Salute to y'all, man. Much love. Dub, salute, nephew.
All right, Blue. All right.
All right,
Dub, man. Talk to you soon. We out. Peace.